Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
Balance of Nature is the best fruit and vegetable product on the market. What makes us the best? It's not about how many different fruits and vegetables are in each capsule. It's about having the right fruits and vegetables in the right quantities. That's what Balance of Nature has done. Our proprietary blend of fruits and vegetables has been handpicked by Dr. Howard based on his extensive research. Fruits and vegetables are made of hundreds of thousands of phytochemicals that work together to help your cells regenerate better, faster, and stronger. Only fresh whole fruits and vegetables are inside the capsules. You won't find any fillers, binding agents, or preservatives of any kind. You will only find fruits and vegetables the way Mother Nature intended. Start your journey with the best fruit and vegetable product on the market today by going to balanceofnature.com or by calling 1-800-2468-751. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code FREEDOM.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends October 13th. See club for details.
Build your network, experience local business, and find out what local merchants have to offer all in one day. Visit the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Tuesday, October 13th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely discover local business and shop local at the 2021 Lincoln Expo from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I think today is probably overall the best practice I've been a part of in Nebraska.
Jake Bockoven.
I think we had our best week of practice ever again. So if our goal is to get better day by day, it's been a good week.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome in, kids. We did it. Nice job, everyone. Give yourself a hand, Bock. We made it to Friday. It's Friday, and it's Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bockoven. Have you heard the news? It's Michigan week, baby.
Yes.
I want to know, I want to ask this question throughout the day. How you feeling compared to, after how you felt after the big wins, 56-7 over Northwestern? How you feeling now? I'll ask that question throughout the day. 464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, Sutter Heyman text line. You can get us on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Just wave to the camera there. We're there. Respond to us. We had some weird texts yesterday.
We did.
That we didn't respond to. It was a little out there. But we will respond to some of them. I mean, if they're not a little weird or out there, I mean, those were weird. But that's okay.
We had to dump a call yesterday?
Yeah, that's right. But there's no such thing as bad publicity, but in that case there was.
Yeah. Hey, should we get the Michigan fight song? That's one of the best ones. Do you like that one?
I do like the Michigan fight song.
After playing Hail Varsity, I mean, obviously Hail Varsity is better. But.
The Michigan Wolverines, I heard an interesting discussion. I'll give him credit. Jack Mitchell was talking about it today. And talking about Wolverines, there's never actually been a sighting of a Wolverine or a trapping of a Wolverine inside the state of Michigan.
Oh, really?
They don't have any.
Why are they the Wolverines?
I think they think it's cool, and they like the helmet.
Pretty cool.
They like the helmet, but shouldn't you have a Wolverine in your state if you call yourself a Wolverine?
Where do Wolverines hail from?
I guess Colorado, Montana,
Oh.
where there's a lot of room to run, home on the range, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of them in the city of Detroit, like driving, something, on the way to work, driving a car. They just don't exist in the state of Michigan. And Jack's thought was, well, you got to get rid of it. If you don't even have that thing in your state and you're calling yourself that thing, it's time to get rid of that mascot.
Are there any Spartans in Michigan? Is there a history of Spartans?
Well, I bet they've got to get rid of their nickname as well.
Got to get rid of it.
Last time I checked, we have corn.
Yes.
So we get to keep
those that husk corn as well.
That's right. We get to keep our nickname. A lot of other states probably have to get rid of theirs. So they've got some thinking to do. The Red Sox got killed last night. What happened? Did you watch it?
Well, I mean, I was going to watch it. I liked watching baseball on DVR so that I could fast forward through most of it. But, see the action. But, I did. Well, before I was getting to my DVR session, my TV turned on to the game, and it was like the fifth inning, and they hadn't scored. So from there on, I just kind of figured I wasn't going to
watch. You got killed. What was the final? I don't know. It doesn't even 5-0. I think was the final. Randy Arozarena, first guy ever to hit a home run in a game and steal home. He stole home. I mean, that takes some guts to steal home. I mean, the pitcher just wasn't watching, and that's what sometimes happens. I think you can get away with it more often, but if you get caught, then you look pretty silly, especially in the NALDS if you do that. Also, Nelson Cruz hit the top of the roof on a home run. They gave him a home run after hitting the roof, which I don't know that that's allowed. I mean, apparently it is, but it shouldn't be allowed.
Is it? There's like 5 rings hanging from the top or something?
Right. Yeah.
He hit one of them.
I mean, it would have been a home run. I mean, I think he hit it hard.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
No, it probably would have been, yeah.
I remember the old Metrodome with that was a stupid dome. It finally caved in because of snow. And good thing there was no game going on.
Yeah,
I mean, that would have been horrible. But Dave Kingman used to hit it through the hole in the roof. I mean, he did one time. Hit it through the hole of the Metrodome.
Did it leave?
Yeah, it was. I guess that's a foul ball, but it didn't come back down. So
I remember Alex Henry trying to hit the scoreboard at the stadium in Dallas.
Yeah,
and he did in pregame. I think.
Yeah. So that happened. Also in sports, there was a shot. I want to say Bill Haas on tour hit it into somebody's golf bag yesterday, which is weird. I've never seen that happen either in sports. I mean,
You play it where it lies.
That's right. In Happy Gilmore, like that is not a thing that you have.
Oh, that's not a real thing.
You don't have to hit it off the shooter's. Is that Shooter? What was the guy's name?
That was like Jaws from the.
What was his name?
I don't know his name.
I don't know. You don't have to hit it off his shoe. You get a drop.
Oh, okay.
So the Happy Gilmore rules. You don't have to play it from somebody's golf bag.
Oh.
You get a drop. But Bill Haas did. He hit it into somebody's golf bag. So that happened in sports yesterday. Also, the Astros beat the White Sox 6-1. Jake Myers went 2 for 4 in that game. He had a run scored. He had an RBI. We love our Jake Myers, former Husker, and really playing well. Had that great start where he had like 3 home runs in his first 10 at-bats or something like that with the Astros.
Yeah.
He's been playing. I think that was a Houston record. But it's nice to see him still up there. He had the Rams over Seattle last night, 26-17. And in that game, Russell Wilson, he throws a ball and he overshoots his man. And then he hit Aaron Donald's hand. And you see the finger? It's kind of weird looking. I've played like pickup football games and had friends that had dislocated parts of their body. It looked bad. Ugh. I don't like it. They tried to fix it, tape it up, but Gino came in.
Geno Smith sighting. It was kind of cool.
He hadn't played in a game or hadn't thrown a touchdown since like 2017.
I forgot he existed.
I didn't know he existed. And now he'll have to exist longer because Russell might have to have surgery. So that could be bad.
And he's it was a close game still. I mean, Geno had a chance. He threw an interception late, but it's interesting. That division's interesting to me. Obviously, as a Cardinals fan, I was kind of hoping the Seahawks would win, give me more of a 2-game set over the Rams because I still think they're the best team.
You're
in
undefeated.
football.
What do you want?
I want more assurance that they'll win that division.
By the way, we'll pick the Cards game this weekend against the 49ers just for your pleasure. I thought we'd throw it on the list of games to pick during our picks of density. The Chiefs and the Bills. We'll also pick that game a little bit later on.
If you have a good week, you're going over 500 for the year.
Right?
That's pretty good.
I went 5-5 last week. Did we write those down?
Yeah, you're 13-14 on the year.
I'm 13-14. You are 9-18.
Yeah, I'm giving you a good lead.
Ooh. You got to catch up. But you want me overconfident, so I am overconfident right now. Yeah. So it is all working on your side. Anything else I want to talk about? Yeah. We should call our buddy Barry Swanson.
Call Barry Swanson.
Rico, if you can hear me in the other room, let's call Barry Swanson and just and talk to Barry. He's got a tailgate this weekend. Rico insists that he's my make-believe friend, so Rico expects to hear no one on the other line when we have this conversation.
Yeah, we're going to finally prove that Barry Swanson exists. How long have you been going to his tailgate?
I've known him since 2011.
Okay. So started the Big Ten.
Yeah, started the Big Ten.
Buddy.
I've known him since I met him through Heidi, my wife. He worked for when Heidi was the head of marketing at the University of Nebraska back in the 90s, the glory era.
Yeah.
And Barry was on her staff. And at one time he was in charge of Bob Devaney.
Just in general.
Like he had to go get Bob Ice whenever he wanted ice or something like that. It's just an intern because he was the athletic director emeritus. At that time, of course, Bill Byrne was the athletic director, and he was he was in the athletic department, and now he's doing other things. Hopefully, we can get a hold of him.
I think he's there. Is this Barry? Is Barry,
Barry, are you there?
I'm here.
He's alive. He's real.
See, he exists. Do you exist, Barry? Is it true?
I exist in voice.
So even Barry Swanson's not confirming whether he's real or not.
I'm hard to see, but I'm easy to hear.
How psyched up? What time will you get there tomorrow to set up for the tailgate?
We are shooting for a 1:00 arrival.
That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. I think you should be there. I think you should be there now. Why aren't you there?
I would like to be there now. It's going to be a beautiful day, and the barbecue is going to be hot and ready with awesome brats on them.
You probably don't want to say where you are, otherwise millions of people will. All 7 of our listeners might show up.
Well, I hope you do, and of course you have Cousin Greg coming.
Cousin Greg, and we're going to talk to Cousin Greg, I think, in the 1:00 hour.
Awesome.
He lives in Sheridan. He just texted me. I think he arrived in Denver about an hour ago, and he'll be in Lincoln probably within an hour. An hour and a half.
Good luck. Every time he comes, we win.
It does feel like that. He's been here for some big wins. He's that guy, though, if he sits in your aisle, and I think he's going to sit in your aisle, Barry.
Yes, I think we're going to sit with you.
Yeah. You got to get ready for it. I mean, if you're not on his level of enthusiasm.
I know. I'm going to have to get a good night's sleep.
Well, that's probably true. But I do want you at the tailgate probably a little earlier than 1. I'd like to see it.
We can do that.
Okay. Because it's all about me. Will there be Yingling?
Yes, there will be Yingling and Spotted Cow from Wisconsin.
All right, Wisconsin.
That you can't get here, of course.
Barry is a Packer fan, so we've had to work around that in our relationship. But he also likes the Vikings, which is weird. I don't think that should be allowed as a sports fan that you like both the Packers and the Vikings.
If they're not playing the Packers, I'm a Vikings fan.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I know it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It don't make sense.
Well, we look forward to it tomorrow. You said there'll be barbecue and Yingling and Spotted Cow.
Is there perhaps?
And I think my mother's oldest son will be bringing some other beers from
Your
San
brother.
Diego.
It's called your brother. Your brother Randy.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
my brother.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
brother coming in from California. Is Bock invited? Can Bock come?
Yes,
Okay.
Bock can come.
Are you
Have
gonna
Bock come.
are you gonna have
All right.
some grilled Wolverine? Did you consider some grilled Wolverine?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Barry.
right.
We're looking forward to it. We just had to check in.
I hope to see you there.
I'm feeling. How you feeling about the game? Are you feeling good about it?
I actually am. I'm actually predicting a win by a touchdown.
Oh, there we go.
One touchdown.
I'll
We'll
take
take
that.
it.
I really
I'll take anything.
think we have a great shot of winning.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know which way I'm going to go yet. I honestly,
Really?
we'll make our picks of density later on the show at 12:30. But I think we're saving our actual pick right before we leave this this airwave
Well, I'll
or
look forward to
airwaves
hearing it.
plural. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, do you know yet, Bock, how you're going to pick it?
Oh, I'm very close to settling in on a final score, but
All right.
not quite.
All right, Barry. We'll see you there tomorrow. I hope you're there.
Always good to talk to you guys.
All right. Be there bright and early.
All right.
I think you should get there now, but that's okay if you're there tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
There's not enough beer.
That's right. That's probably
All right.
true. All right. See you later, Barry. Barry Swanson. He does exist, and he's got a tailgate under the viaduct. Of course, Rico will probably say that that doesn't confirm anything. It's probably a fake.
That could have
Barry
been anybody,
Swanson.
to be honest.
What do you think, Rico? Now, do you believe that there is, in fact, a Barry Swanson?
I told this so-called Barry Swanson that I still didn't believe that he was a person, and he said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm a recording." So
It's a robot.
So we're gonna have to deal with that.
Does it really
On the,
matter?
the stream said it was your imaginary friend, so there's that. I don't know what to believe.
Did you have an imaginary? Did you have like a fake friend growing up? Anybody?
Not one, probably several.
You had several.
Still,
Well, I
do.
mean, when
Do
I
you
was
call him Bock as well?
No, I'm just saying, like when you're like scoring touchdowns in the backyard and everybody goes,
Well, we all did that.
well, yeah, that's all your imaginary
And
friends.
sometimes it had to be you throwing the ball and catching the ball.
Oh yes.
And Tom just brought his imaginary
Yeah.
friend with him until
Yeah.
later in his life.
Well, if you're throwing it to yourself, that's not as good as throwing it to another guy, your imaginary friend.
If you have a first name and last name imaginary friend,
Yeah, I
then
think
you're
you're
in trouble.
yeah,
if
you're
you
going
just have
too
a
deep,
first,
Tom.
yeah,
You
if it's
need
just
to
a first
relax.
name, all
He's
right,
got a
whatever.
tailgate.
Yeah.
He's a Packers fan and a
I
Vikings
invented
fan.
Yeah, a guy that's a Packers fan and a Vikings fan. Okay.
What just happened? Barry is real, and now Bock is out. Now Bock just talk to him. It doesn't think he
I've
exists.
never seen a Barry Swanson in my life.
It's very possible. Well, come on by. You're invited. You are invited to Barry Swanson's
Wow.
tailgate.
After 5 years, I'm finally invited.
Well, Happer's been there, and he still doesn't believe he exists.
Yeah, Happer met a guy who said he was Barry Swanson,
That's
but
true.
never saw any ID or anything.
Does Barry have a TV at his tailgate?
There are TVs everywhere.
Okay, yeah, because that's going to be during Iowa. Penn
They have
State. I gotta watch
TVs
that.
everywhere. It's hard to not see. Sometimes you'll say, "Well, why is that game on? Why is that game on
Yeah.
over this game?" Usually, there's an Iowa game on, Bach. There are
Oh,
Iowa
perfect.
fans right near Barry. A lady, I think, that tailgates next to him is a big Iowa fan.
I would think this week there would be a lot of those games. That game should be on everywhere. That's a top 5 Big Ten matchup. What else do you want at that
that's
time
the
slot?
game you'll be watching anyway.
Yeah.
We'll review that game and give you our picks of density. Do you hear what happened for the Coastal Carolina played Arkansas State last night? They blew them out. They destroyed them.
A bad Arkansas State team.
And then they get to the locker room, and apparently they saw they saw it like with a chainsaw. They have a chainsaw apparently in the locker room, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's
that
not
you would
safe.
just store a chainsaw in the locker room, but in the locker room they sawed off a red wolf's head.
Not a real red wolf, like a
It was a
stuffed
fake
animal.
No, yeah, it wasn't a real one. They didn't bring in a real red wolf. Maybe, and I wonder, Arkansas State, do they have a lot of red wolves? I mean, we
Well, they
talked about
could,
that
yeah.
because apparently there are no Wolverines in the state of Michigan. You can't even find one.
There are probably plenty of Chanticleers in the Carolina
I mean,
area.
should Nebraska, after they beat Michigan Saturday night, take a stuffed Wolverine and Scott Frost should saw off its head?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. That sounds like
I
it
mean,
would
doesn't that
get
seem a
everybody
little? I
revved
mean,
up.
you would think that the head coach there might be called into the office like on Monday and say, we don't have insurance in case you actually saw somebody's real head off.
Yeah. Or just any sort of mistake.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessary. Coastal Carolina is 6-0. They're number 15 in the country, and Arkansas State is 1-5.
Right. By the way, off the text line, 464-5685, somebody says, tell Barry his former grill mate, Dave, says hi. So not only do I have an imaginary friend, so does Dave. They're grill mates. Anything else you see on the text line? Feel free to read anything that you think is okay that's not naughty.
Oh, there's a few naughty things. So
there's always some naughty stuff on the text line. We've got a great show for you today. Box Tops today, the top 10 Michigan players.
Yeah, we're going to get to know Michigan before we play them.
And for some reason, Bock wants to talk about Adrian Martinez's record in big games against top 25 opponents.
Well, I think it's at least notable.
He's 0 for 10, so it's not good. But this could be the best win for a long time, maybe at least since 2015 for a Nebraska football team. But I think this would be bigger because I think this team is much better. But we can talk about that. Also, Sean Callahan in just a few minutes of HuskerOnline.com. And a little bit later on in the 1 o'clock hour, Evan Bland. Plus, we'll break down Michigan today and have our picks of density. It's a big show. It's a Friday show with Tom and Bock. Back with more after this.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
Not all championships come with a trophy. Some help save lives. If you'd like to be on the team that kicks cancer's butt, come to Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln this fall and support their Cheers to Hope campaign. Every Cheers to Hope koozie or ACS chicken ringer you buy supports the American Cancer Society and their fight against cancer. Sounds like a win to me. You get great beer, the best chicken sandwich in the league, the chicken ringer, and you're helping fight cancer. Cheers to Hope at Buffalo Wings and Rings, the better Buffalo.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
This is Bill.
It's finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173. The weather has changed, and now it's time to adjust your footwear to change along with it. Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
The hottest rookies, the biggest superstars, the all-time greats. There's only one place to collect them all, Panini Trading Cards. As the exclusive trading card partner of the NFL and the NFLPA, Panini America utilizes iconic brands like Donruss and Contenders, delivering instant classic trading cards of the most popular players. For autograph cards, memorabilia, rare inserts, and rookie cards, there's something for everyone in Panini America packs. Start or continue your collection today at PaniniAmerica.net.
Here's to days spent roaming, and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical, and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Build your network, experience local business, and find out what local merchants have to offer all in one day. Visit the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Tuesday, October 13th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely discover local business and shop local at the 2021 Lincoln Expo from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Pius X. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Pius X has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romery won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Areas of patchy fog again this morning, then warming to 84 by later this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a light southeast wind at 10. We'll see partly cloudy skies again tonight with the low dropping down to 62. Despite an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, it will be hot as we'll top out near 89. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's Friday, Tom and Bock. Can't wait for game day tomorrow. Of course, our pregame starts at Tipsy Tina's 2.5 hours before kickoff. So do the math on that one. What do you got?
I think about 4 o'clock, right?
About 4 o'clock. Bock just did the math in his head and came up with 4 o'clock. That's when we'll be at Tipsy Tina's at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. And that should be, I mean, it felt like, I don't know about you, like last week for homecoming night game, I didn't feel a lot of energy until I got in the actual building. Maybe you felt something different, but I think the energy, as high as it was last week, is going to be crazy this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody feels that this is a turning point type of game for the Nebraska program. It's another opportunity to get that big win, get over the hump, get the national recognition. I mean, the national attention has been very nice to Nebraska, considering the fact that they haven't won one of these games. But you think about the Oklahoma game, the Michigan State game, now this game, of course, week 1 against Illinois. 4 years, 6 games have been on national TV and pretty relevant as far as that day's lineup goes.
I do think there'll be an attempt to tear down the goalposts. They won't succeed because Nebraska's ready for them. But I do think there'll be an attempt, if they win this game, to tear down the goalposts. That's just a prediction. It's happened like 5 times in Nebraska football history. Now they make them so much more solid, and they make them collapsible. Like you even think about it, they just collapse it. Somebody's got it's like the button, it's not like the nuclear, but you got the button to the goalpost and you can just collapse them, I think, at any time.
I'd like to see that as well, though, actually.
I don't think actually there's a button.
I don't think there's a button.
I think there's a button, but I've heard they're collapsible. That could be wrong as well. I might be just making up stories. Sometimes that happens on this show. I did want to mention this. I saw this morning. Is he there?
I think so.
Okay. I didn't see. It's hard for me to see the phone there.
Yeah.
I didn't see Rico make the call. Let's welcome in Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Good afternoon. Yeah, the goalpost thing is an interesting debate, guys. Because do these young kids in the student section even know what that is? Do they know how to do it? It takes a lot of muscular force to swing and snap that type of metal. And I agree with you, Tom. I don't know if it's going to happen. Wasn't it? I'm dating myself here, but 93 or 94.
Right.
Didn't they come down twice in 1 year?
Once against, was it against Colorado? Was one of them, I think.
And they greased them. I think the when they were going to come down again, maybe when they beat Oklahoma in '93. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I want to say they greased them. So like if you got on them, you would just slip right off. Right away.
And in some cases they still got them down with enough effort. They even after they had greased them. I remember that. And I've told the story on the air. My buddy Lloyd was dressed as Santa because it was Halloween or the weekend of Halloween, and he was at the top of the goalpost as Santa Claus. But he survived, and everyone lived happily ever after. Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. So these are the storylines to me. Jaquez Yant last week, the offensive line, and 0 special teams mistakes among the big stories. But what would you rank as the big stories coming out of the Northwestern win?
Yeah, I mean, I think Frost pushing some buttons last week, switching that lineup with what he did with Prohaska and Noelle, going, with Jaquez Yant and signing off on that move, and it all working. I mean, it kind of goes back to what Frost came to Nebraska on, the mindset of no fear of failure. And I think you could debate that he hasn't always coached with that mindset. I mean, you think about 2 weeks before that at Michigan State, they had the ball with timeouts with a chance to maybe set up a field goal and win the game, and they went to overtime instead. And that was kind of more of a fear of failure, play it safe, 2-putt it mentality. And I like how he came at Northwestern. He came at him with some changes. He went at him right away with a 70-yard throw to Torre. That wasn't necessarily a great throw, but Torre made a play on it and got back on it. So I just like the way Frost came out of the gates angry, and his team responded. The players that he put in the new roles responded. And I think it's a good wake-up call that, like, look, sometimes a guy just needs a chance, and you don't see it in practice, but put Jaquez Yant in, give him a chance in the game. I'm guessing you're not live tackling Jaquez Yant in practice, because a lot of guys would get hurt every day if they did. And so let's let Northwestern's guys get hurt trying to tackle instead. How about that?
Yeah.
How much of the moves that were made were kind of like directly Frost? I've been hearing a lot of that this week, that, Frost kind of took ownership of this and decided, maybe you don't want to say step on the toes of your position coaches, but just kind of take that more firm role.
Well, he's the CEO, he's the head coach, and ultimately he can do whatever he wants with his football team. And I do get the sense that, particularly on the O-line, they had an historically bad performance against Michigan State. I mean, one defensive end alone against Michigan State had 14 quarterback pressure plays alone on the right tackle side of the field. And the other side was pretty dang close. I mean, there was something like 37 pressures in that game from their defensive line. They only blitzed 5 times. Something had to change. They couldn't go out there with the same group. And, Frost, sometimes a position coach is loyal to his guys, and maybe it's reluctant to change it up. And I think Frost says, we got to do this. Let's do it. Let's do it now. I think they liked the matchup last week against Northwestern, that they could handle it, and they did. So I think that's also a team. Pat Fitzgerald has been the coach there for 15, 16 years. So a lot of what they do, people are familiar with. I don't think you have to expect Pat Fitzgerald to change up his scheme a lot week to week. So I think it was a really good week to bring in new people, because I think you could prepare people a lot better knowing that Pat Fitzgerald is who he is, and he wasn't going to probably come out with a whole new look on defense.
Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. You do recruiting for a living. Teddy Prohaska was amazing. He's a true freshman. I know, and previously had played a little bit at tight end, but never left tackle, one of the hardest positions in football. I know Cam Jurgens did it, but he had his growing pains. I can't think of a lot of instances where a true freshman on the offensive line has come in and made a big impact. How much of you wants to see if this is really real?
Well, I mean, there's only a few in the history of the program. I mean, Brennan Hymas obviously came in 17, but then, you got to date yourself back. Javario Burks came in, and the late Javario Burks came in 2007 and played really, really well at Texas. And Texas had one of the best rushing defenses in the country, and Marlon Lucky went for over 100 yards, and a lot of those runs came on the side of Burks. He was going to be a special talent until the blood clots and things he battled took him out of the game of football. But yeah, you've got to be a talent. There's no doubt to play as a true freshman. I first saw Teddy when he was a freshman in high school. And I remember I texted Matt Hoskinson, because he's an Elkhorn South guy with his kids. And I said, Matt, am I seeing this right? This Prohaska kid right now at Elkhorn South looks like he has the makings to be a pretty good lineman down the road. He goes, you're seeing it right. Not only is he a great kid, great prospect, he's got the toughness. And typically big 6'9" kids that are that big aren't mean. Well, Teddy's got a nasty side to him, and he plays tough. We brought him out to St. Louis as a sophomore to the Rivals Showcase, and it was him, Isaac Zadika, and Drew Christo, the three Elkhorn and Elkhorn South kids, traveled out there together with their dads, all former Huskers, and it was pretty cool to see them all together. But Teddy came out there, and it was at East St. Louis High School. Let's just say not a place you want to be walking around at night at, let alone Sunday morning for a football camp. And Teddy went out to East St. Louis and just was getting after it, putting down these tough St. Louis kids in the ground. And I knew, this guy's pretty special. We had him wire to wire number one in the state of Nebraska. I know our competing service only had him as a 3-star, which I always was surprised, because to me, he's a top 100, no-brainer 4-star. And that's how we've had him at Rivals from the get-go when we saw him live in action at multiple events.
I love hearing those backstories, those recruiting stories. Yeah. That's partially why we love to have you on. How is this week shaking up for recruiting? I know it's a small recruiting class or whatever, but this seems to be like the type of game you'd want to bring some guys in on.
Yeah, it's a combination. A lot of 2023s and 2024s again. For 2022, a lot of commits and other targets. The approach here for these final 5 spots continues to be interesting. I mean, we've seen some new JUCO offers go out to defensive backs. There's going to be, I believe, a potential kicker, transfer portal kicker that comes in this weekend. So there's a few elements of guys coming in. I think our visitor preview may have just hit on Husker Online. I'm not on my desk right now, but about 60 recruits. When you break down all the visitors, none of them are official visitors. So 2 weekends in a row with over 100 recruits, but everybody will be an unofficial, which is fine. It's a night game. You can fly or drive into Lincoln from a lot of places for a night game.
Yep. Sean Callahan is our guest of HuskerOnline.com. You mentioned the portal, and the NCAA has come out with a new rule that you're allowed to replace up to 7 roster spots of guys who go in the portal with the portal transferring in. We know Michigan State is kind of building their program that way. Nebraska has been a little more choosy, but this being a very small recruiting class, do you think that maybe they've learned a few things about the portal and will use it more often going forward?
Yeah, I get the sense you're going to probably see at least 5 portal additions to this roster in December. It's kind of the eye for an eye approach. If you lose an old player at a key position, you probably might need to find an old player to get that depth back. You're not going to get it back with a young player necessarily. So the portal is really tricky. You got to find the right guys that fit your program. And we know there's been some really good portal additions at Nebraska, and there's been some not so good ones over the years. But I think this staff has a pretty good handle on how to go about it.
I know this is maybe too early to ask, but we heard just the other day that a Nebraska player is going to return, take advantage of their opportunity he got injured this year, the linebacker. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Will Honus.
Will Honus, yeah. Will Honus will return. Is there an early feeling about all these players, or what kind of mess this is going to bring for the coaching staff of all these guys, I guess, listed as juniors now, playing their senior years and deciding if they're going to come back or not?
Yeah, it's really up in the air, and a lot of it's the NFL, how that's going to factor in with some of these guys, because I do think the draft is going to be fairly loaded this year in terms of depth at key positions because of the number of super seniors. Those old guys are all going to try to go in the draft. They have to go to the draft. So it will be interesting how the draft grades come back on some guys. I look at the tight ends. If they can keep one of the 2 tight ends, that'd probably be a victory in my opinion. I don't know if they can keep both Austin Allen and Travis Vokalek. I think Damian Daniels is going to be pretty hard to keep in school. I think he's played 5 years at Nebraska, playing at a high level. I think he's playing at a draftable level right now, so we'll see where that goes. Cam Taylor-Britt's an intriguing one because he hasn't played great this year, even though he was probably the best prospect going into the year. And then Adrian Martinez. It's a really, really down year for quarterbacks right now coming out of the draft. So where does Adrian fall in that overall discussion? That's what we don't know. And it will be interesting to kind of see where that all goes with Adrian here in the coming weeks, coming months. And could NIL play a factor? If there's enough monies coming in with NIL. I mean, is that something that Adrian has got to think about? Because if he comes back another year, let's say they finish strong, let's say they go to a bowl, they win, and he puts together a solid year, but there's still a few other things he wants to improve on. He comes back to Nebraska another year, maybe he's getting six-figure money just playing one more year at Nebraska alone because of NIL. I mean, those are all things I think people are going to have to consider when they make their decisions now.
Sean, and we thought it would, as you mentioned, I think it could really help in keeping guys like Adrian or Lauren Stivrins or Lexi's son around campus because they know through NIL that they can market their brand. I think it might actually help that way more than the high-profile freshman coming out of high school for Nebraska.
Yeah, it's dicey because you don't want to make too many guarantees to freshmen because what happens if they're not good? What happens, if you give a freshman $1 million deal and it's Jordan Stevenson or something all over again, and you don't get anything out of the guy, and somebody in the business community is locked into paying this kid. So it's a sticky situation how to manage NIL and what to do.
Yeah. Now getting back to this Michigan game, I'm not going to have you give your prediction. I know you like to save those, but how big is this game? Can you remember? I mean, we try to kind of think about the last big win as opposed to what this would be. How big is this for the program?
Well, yeah, Michigan, Nebraska. I mean, this is probably the best chance Nebraska's had to win a top 10 game since the Michigan State game in 2015. I don't know what the Spartans were ranked that year when they came in, but they were undefeated. They won the Big Ten. You could argue that was probably the weakest Big Ten champion in Nebraska's era of being in the Big Ten in the 11 years they've played in this league. But the bottom line is you don't get opportunities like this to win a game against a top 10 opponent. You're only a 3-point dog. You're at home. It's a night game. Really, the only team that's beaten Nebraska in the last 20-some years in Memorial Stadium at night consistently is Ohio State. And they've had elite talent. Other than Ohio State on those Urban Meyer and Ryan Day teams, Nebraska has played really, really well in these types of games at home at night. So there's a lot to consider when you look at this matchup for Saturday.
Are you picking Nebraska? Or are you saving that?
I am. I'll say I'll pick Nebraska by 3 points. Yeah, I talked to a lot of people. I talked to some Rutgers guys, that are familiar with Nebraska and Rutgers both, and they actually said, I like Nebraska in this game as well. I mean, I had one Rutgers guy I talked to yesterday say, he goes, I'd like Nebraska in this game by 10, 14 points. I'm not picking them by that many, but I just think Michigan hasn't really played anybody. If we're being honest with ourselves, Washington lost to an FCS team. And Rutgers is quality, but they got destroyed by Ohio State a week later. So I think when you look at Michigan, who have they played is my question.
Right.
And is their ranking more a product of we want Michigan to be in the top 10 because it's good for college football, or are they really a top 10 team? I think it's probably somewhere in between. I think they're probably a top 25 team, but I don't know if they're a top 10 team.
Is Nebraska the second best team in the West? If not, they're close, right?
Pretty dang close. But they got to play football. They got to play sound football they're not just going to be handed that. And, Iowa, as we know, is playing the best football right now in the West, and I don't think that's debatable.
He's host of the Husker Online Show every Saturday morning, this Saturday at 8 a.m. with Robin Washut. What do you got on the show tomorrow?
Well, lots of stuff will get you ready for the game. I'm going to have John Anthony on and Dana Finch from Tourism Ireland, John Anthony from Anthony Travel. We'll talk about that trip out to Ireland and they were in my office last week getting ready to go. And then Chris Ballas, the editor of the Wolverine and senior writer, is going to join me as well.
What you anticipate? It is Northwestern, right? I mean, do you anticipate a big Husker contingent for that?
I do. I mean, I think last week really got the ball rolling for folks, having everybody in. Kevin Byrne, the Consul General of Ireland, we also had up in the office and interviewed him last week. Very excited. We're working with them and putting stuff together for the game out there. It's going to be a great trip. I mean, the website that they have is huskers2ireland.com. That's where you find all the packages. And, they've got all the good rooms and things locked up already. So, if you want to get your trip planned and look at things, that's where you want to go right now and kind of get these things figured out, because it's about that time to even start buying your flights at this point too.
Great stuff, Sean. We'll talk to you again next week.
Okay. Hey, thanks, guys.
Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com, the Husker Online Show, every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. with Robin Washit. That includes tomorrow. Let's get the break. Come back with the blog jog next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. Quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is in concussion protocol, so he still can't practice. But Wednesday, before the Broncos hit the field, head coach Vic Fangio offered this bit of optimism.
He's getting better. He's able to lift today with the group and attend meetings.
Fangio also shared some good news about wideout Jerry Jeudy.
His progress the last week or so has been very good. Originally was said to be 6 to 8. There's some hope for the 6.
Here's wide receiver Cortland Sutton on the benefit of working with both Bridgewater and Drew Lock in the preseason.
Yeah, most definitely. I know Teddy's taking care of himself, and I know Drew's preparing himself for whatever the situation may come out to be.
Rookie cornerback Pat Surtain Jr. and return man Deontay Spencer also unable to practice Wednesday. But right guard Graham Glasgow and cornerback Ronald Darby both returned to the practice field. Darby went on IR following the Giants game. Broncos at the Steelers Sunday.
At Madonna Therapy Plus, your health and safety is our first priority. Whether you're recovering from a minor sprain or a complex medical condition, our therapy experts can help relieve pain and increase mobility in an environment that adheres to enhanced safety guidelines. Therapy Plus is open in Omaha and Lincoln for comprehensive physical, speech, and occupational therapy, all with enhanced in-person safety plus new telehealth options. So don't let wellness wait. Learn more and schedule an appointment at therapyplus.madonna.org.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. This month's specials are Sam Adams, Exile Brewing from Iowa, and other fall seasons. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation and offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's what customers have told us they want from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all of our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. You saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto on West O. Check us out at pricerightauto.com.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to the ticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends October 13th. See club for details.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Grab yourself a hot dog, pour a glass of eggnog, and settle in. This is The Block Shop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Before we get to Rico, I want to respond to this text box.
Okay.
464-5685, Starter Haven text line. What? Second best team in the West? Nebraska's won one Big Ten game, and you're making them the second best team in the West. You might want to wait a few games before you say something that ridiculous. And I thought about it. I don't think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that Nebraska's Iowa's by far the best team in the West, right?
It's not like you're crowning them something major achievement.
You want to crown them, crown them.
There's just not much going on in the West. Really.
Minnesota has lost to Bowling Green. They're 3-2. Purdue is 3-2, and they're okay. They're not great. They're not terrible.
Yeah.
And that's how you describe the West. It's not great, aside from Iowa, but not terrible. I think Nebraska wins this weekend. Yeah, you probably do want to wait a few games, but Nebraska, as we know, has given away a few games that they should have won. I don't think saying they're the second best team in the West is crazy.
If Nebraska wins and Iowa loses, we're right back into it.
That's right. If we win 6 in a row,
Nebraska's back in the thick of it if Iowa loses
I
to
think
Penn
we're
State.
going for the second best team in the West. That's the goal.
I'm just saying.
We're number 2 in the
I'm
West.
just saying. If Nebraska wins and Iowa loses, Nebraska is one game back.
That's right. One game at a time. It is time for the blog jog.
All you got to do is win in the Big Ten. Remember, Northwestern lost all their non-conference games, won all their conference games. Boom, got boat raced by Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
You sound like Bill Callahan. Just win the North.
Yeah.
But
all you got to do.
That's kind of where we are now. When we made fun of him for saying, just win the North.
Well, it's kind of frustrating, too, because Wisconsin's finally down. Wisconsin's dominated this division for 10 years, and then the last two haven't looked very good, and Nebraska's, not there to take advantage of it.
It's time for a resurgence.
I agree. It is time also for the blog jog with Rico Alvarez Clary.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Jacked.
It's Friday.
The weekend's coming.
You have fun talking to your imaginary friend, Tom?
Yeah, he was great. Was I just talking out loud to myself?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on.
Honestly, probably.
Whatever. It felt like good radio. So we'll do it again. I'll talk to my imaginary cousin at 1:00.
Oh, we believe in your cousin. That's family.
Yeah. That's right.
Family's real.
Okay.
Friends are fake.
Right.
Friends
What's
aren't
on
real.
the blog jog?
This one comes from UPI.com. A tourist records a shark biting an alligator on the foot in South Carolina.
Ooh, sharks and alligators.
Say that again, just for...
A tourist was recording an alligator sunbathing in the water,
right,
and caught a shark swim up to said alligator and bite its foot.
How did the alligator
tourist
react?
bit
Did
the
alligator.
The tourist didn't bite anybody. He's just videotaping.
The alligator
Okay.
freaked out. The
All
shark swam away.
It'd be much better if the tourist had done all the biting.
That'd be interesting to see a fight where the alligator keeps getting a little bit closer to shore till the shark can't breathe, and then I got him.
It's always amazing to me, those guys. Like, I remember Wild Kingdom. To get the video, in many cases, you have to be pretty close to the animal.
Yeah.
I mean, what if they decide to stop biting each other and bite you?
You lose.
You lose.
That's what that means.
There's
That's
nothing
right.
scarier than a shark. I mean, I can't swim.
Sure?
I can't swim to begin with, but to be stuck in the water, nobody can outswim a shark. He's gonna get you if you're there.
They're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Yeah.
You always hear
I think
that.
there are scarier animals.
Like what?
Like an alligator.
Alligator's low. You can get your feet.
You watch Naked and Afraid all the time. They're killing alligators every week.
They're not killing alligators. They're terrified of the alligators.
So you think Naked and Afraid is fake? They're
No.
not really killing the alligator.
They don't kill the alligators. I've never seen one where they kill an alligator.
Well, they kill caiman all the time. It's the same thing.
Caiman are smaller.
I was kind of afraid of alligators until I talked to a friend from Florida, and he just thought that was so funny because they deal with alligators all the time down there.
Yeah.
And you're not scared of them.
Well, you're not dealing with the massive ones, and also like you're not like. But you're saying if you're in the water with a shark, you're terrified.
Yeah.
If you're in the water with the alligator, I'm terrified.
Yeah, but you
It doesn't swim as quick.
You have a
yes,
better.
it does.
You have
not as much as a shark.
Yes, it does.
You have a much better chance against an alligator than you do a shark.
See, but the problem is with a shark, if it bites your leg or your arm, it has a good chance of going straight through. Like it'll just take it off and swims away. The alligator's not going to go straight through. It's going to bite your arm, and then it's going to start rolling, and it's going to rip it off.
They both roll their prey, don't they?
No,
I don't know.
The shark shakes.
They shake them. They get them, and
The
then
shark
they
shakes
shake and
if
roll.
it doesn't go straight through, which it has a good chance of doing because their teeth are super sharp.
I saw Jaws.
It'll
I
just
know how this works.
take your arm straight off. The alligator will bite your arm, and then it'll be like, all right, time to roll. And also, they try to drown you. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to bite you. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to
drown
take
and
you
dive
down.
The text line says that sharks bite but rarely kill. Crocs always murder.
They are
roll you.
murder. They are murder lizards.
I'm
Literally.
more scared of sharks still. Sorry.
All right. All you got to do is boop a shark in the eyeball.
And you've done that.
It'll let go. The alligator might not let go.
For more Rico shark tips, stay tuned to other animal stories.
Punch a shark in the nose.
That's a good idea. It's always given great
An
advice.
alligator is covered in armor. It
What
is
else
a
you
tank with teeth. A California woman finds a 4.38 carat raw yellow diamond in an Arkansas state park.
Nice.
Wow. She obviously
kept
she kept it.
Yeah.
Well, how'd they
Well,
find
what else
out?
would you do?
How'd they know that she kept it? I mean,
Well,
how'd they
because
find out?
she showed it to them to make sure that it was a diamond, and the Arkansas park rangers were like, "Yeah, that's a diamond." They viewed it under a microscope.
She's not very smart.
And then she was like, "Yeah, this is mine. I'm keeping it."
Not a very smart.
Well, yeah, what else
she
would you
needed
do?
She needed to find out if it was real. It was a raw diamond. It wasn't, it wasn't cleaned and cut and everything.
Well,
So
what would you do? To give it to the park?
some people do. They're like, "Hey, here you go."
My brother used to have a metal detector. He would never find diamonds. I don't remember, but he did find valuable stuff and lots of coins and one really valuable coin that he found just using a metal detector. I wonder if you did that all the time, if you could come up with some good stuff.
That's the hope, especially along the beach. People love to use those along the beach.
That's right. Old people do.
Yeah.
Or
One
it
day
may
I'm gonna
not be
buy
just
one day I'm gonna buy a metal detector.
You
No.
want to be that guy?
Yeah, I want to be a metal detector.
I think
guy.
they won't let you buy one until you're 80.
Is that the rule?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think it comes with your AARP membership.
That
free metal detector.
you hit a certain age, it's like it just shows up at your house.
This is what you do now.
Yeah, like nobody bought it for you. It's just there.
Right. It just looks
Once
like
you hit a certain age, you have to decide what you're going to do, and then the item just shows up there. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be metal detector guy. If you're going to be weird shirt and fancy hat sitting by the pool guy,
which one are those
Bingo
are you
Dauber
guys?
just come along.
bingo guy.
Yeah.
I might be weird guy. No, I think I would be metal detector guy. As soon as I can't play golf,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find something to do. I think I'm metal
Crossword
detector.
puzzle guy.
Oh yeah.
That's Heidi. My wife already does that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's happening.
Maybe you could be all those guys.
She's
I
gonna
mean, we have
replace you
all
with a crossword
facets.
puzzle.
I actually already play bingo. I've made a lot of money on bingo.
Oh. So you're
Really?
going to be bingo
Yeah.
guy. I'm going to be
So you
metal
go to-
detector guy.
Where do you play bingo?
Don't ruin your secrets.
Yeah, I better not ruin my secrets. It's here in town, like 48th and something or other.
All right. Well, maybe
You know,
if
a road and another road.
If you'd like to know where Bach plays bingo, he could tell you privately.
I don't
on
want
the
more
text line.
competition though. That's where I
All
make my money.
All right. That's how
He's running the table.
That's how you live.
He's running the
That's how-
table
yeah,
on
that's how
old
I make
people.
money.
That's how he makes his
That's
money aside
great.
from the radio. He can't make it all from this radio show. That's for sure. Thanks, Rico. Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Box tops today. 10 best Michigan players. We'll do it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction time is slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Areas of patchy fog again this morning, then warming to 84 by later this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a light southeast wind at 10. We'll see partly cloudy skies again tonight with the low dropping down to 62. Despite an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, it will be hot as we'll top out near 89. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. In the interest of safety, the 2021 Step Forward Awards is moving to a virtual space. Help us celebrate volunteerism and thank volunteers for all they do by tuning in to the 2021 Virtual Step Forward Awards. Visit serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
Who's in? Who's out? And what'll happen Sunday when the Broncos battle the Steelers?
Put pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, and he is going to be hit and sacked.
Join Dave Logan and Rick Lewis as the Broncos try to bounce back into the win column.
Touchdown, Denver!
On the KOA Broncos Radio Network.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Businesses from all over the capital city are excited to welcome you to the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Wednesday, October 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely enjoy one of the region's largest business trade shows as you network, find out about Lincoln businesses, and enjoy the many interactive booths. The Expo has something for everyone, including the popular Lincoln Craft Beer Tour and a free Lincoln t-shirt. Best of all, it's free to attend. The Lincoln Expo, showcasing and celebrating local business.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's what customers have told us they want from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. You saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto on West O. Check us out at pricerightauto.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I think today is probably overall the best practice I've been a part of in Nebraska.
Jake Bockoven.
I think we had our best week of practice ever again. So if our goal is to get better day by day, it's been a good week.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome in. It is Tom and Bock over the lunch hour. Good news. We've cornered a beat writer for the University of Michigan. Aaron McMahon, he'll be talking to us at 12:30 this afternoon, Ann Arbor News.
Yeah.
So we'll break down the Wolverines.
I'll see if he makes fun of my top 10 Michigan players list.
That'd be fun. You could compare notes and see what you think. But I think that you'll be probably dead on. You usually are when it comes to college football, Bock.
Yeah,
Scott Frost mentioned, and you talked to Sean Callahan last hour about this, that Will Honus would like to come back for another year and play one more season at Nebraska. He would have to appeal to the NCAA for another year due to injuries. He was injured in the spring, right?
Yeah.
And now he's kind of become a player, a coach, a player still, but more of a coach and a mentor to some of the younger linebackers, and I guess has been pretty helpful on that. So Will Honus will try to come back to Nebraska. That would be valuable.
Would that be his 6th year?
Seventh
year?
He's a JUCO. He's a JUCO, so I think it might be his 3rd or 4th. 1 year COVID.
Oh, yeah, at Nebraska.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm just for...
at college. Yeah, he played junior college ball, I believe, in Kansas. I think he was a Kansas JUCO. But, yeah, that would be valuable to have him.
He's been here 2018, 19, 20, and now 21.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like that.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies. So it would be good to have him back. Also, Nebraska Volleyball tonight, they are 10-3 overall, 4-0 in the conference, and 10th ranked in the country against number 13 Penn State. Penn State is 11-3 and 4-0 in the conference. Those are the only 2 undefeated teams in the conference right now.
Wow. There's a few teams ranked ahead of them, but not in the standings.
Yep. Nebraska has moved up to 10th. Penn State 13th, but there are several, as Bock just mentioned, Big Ten teams in the top 10. It's a loaded conference, by far the best conference in the country. But the match tonight, 6 o'clock, will be televised in Happy Valley at 6 o'clock on BTN. So
Nice.
There you go. So that'll be fun. I'll be watching it, no doubt. I'm psyched up. Lauren Stiverns talked about the challenge of playing in State College, and they're crazy. They're nutty fans. They're into volleyball just like Nebraska fans are.
Yeah.
So look forward to watching it at 6 o'clock tonight. Nebraska, quite honestly, has not played a lot of great teams yet. Iowa, Northwestern, Michigan State. Michigan State weren't bad. But Iowa and Northwestern, not so much.
Do you see, speaking of Lauren Stiverns, I know she kind of was giving, she was giving praise to the Penn State student section and stuff. So maybe that's not bulletin board material, but I saw in an article earlier this morning that JoJo Doman earlier had said, responded to a question about Michigan's rushing attack and said, bring it on. I guess some of the Michigan players retweeted one of the quote, including Blake Coram, who is going to be leading that Michigan attack. So there's a little bit of, maybe they took that as bulletin board material, but what do you want JoJo to say? Yeah, they're gonna really,
I hope they don't hit us hard,
destroy us on the ground. Yeah.
Man, I remember 2018 and JoJo did play in that game. I hope they don't hit us that hard.
Yeah. I like Bring It On better.
I think I would rather hear Bring It On rather than I hope we don't lose. Or they're really, that's not smack talk. That is not close to smack talk.
But is it going to give you a little bit of extra juice if JoJo blows up Coram? You're going to go,
yeah,
take that retweet.
Take that.
Don't retweet my quotes.
It'd be great to have them mic'd up so you could know that they were saying stuff like that. Retweet me, will you?
Or maybe he thanks him for retweets. I got some Michigan followers. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. This doesn't feel like it's been. In fact, I don't remember a game where there's been any smack talk so far this year that
the Oklahoma pregame.
Oh, the brouhaha. Oh, yeah, the brouhaha.
But that wasn't pregame.
But there was nothing going on during the week, and then Oklahoma just decides to walk to Nebraska's side of the 40-yard line and just walk through them and be jerks about it. But I kind of enjoyed that.
It's been a while since they've had pregame trash talk for a game against
Nebraska. Miami is the last real trash talk I've heard.
Yeah,
and the fans were fired up for that.
Oh yeah.
I could see it happening for Iowa this year. I could see not so much Wisconsin, maybe a little bit Minnesota.
Oh yeah, PJ Fleck gets some. He's a talker.
Yeah, he does like to talk. He was really mad that Nebraska was talking last time, and they didn't say anything that was crazy. But he used it as motivation, and it worked because not last year when they beat Nebraska and Lincoln, and that was disappointed as well. All those guys having COVID, and they came into Lincoln and still win the game 24-17, I believe. It was the year before in 2019 where they dominated in Minnesota.
You see, Minnesota's down at another running back. It's a tough. I know they give them a lot of carries, but that team's their whole foundation's on the run game. So
haven't even mentioned that, but Nebraska, of course, plays Minnesota next week. They're in a bye week.
Yeah,
that came at a really good time for Minnesota, because as you mentioned, they're banged up. They lost Mo Ibrahim.
Yeah,
they've lost what was it, Potter?
Trayson Potts
as their backup. I don't know if he's playing this weekend or not, but
well, he's like you said, they're on the bye.
Yeah, that's right.
But he was in the hospital for a few days after the game, so that's probably not good.
Yeah, that's never good. But they do get the advantage of having a bye. Nebraska will, although they're fairly healthy. I think Nebraska is very grateful that they have been this healthy. You've heard Scott Frost say 3 2-week seasons. So you play Michigan, then you go to Minnesota, then you get a week off. You play 2 more, you get a bye, and then if it does work out really well for Nebraska, that week 0 they were able to, move that game out. Actually, was it Southeastern Louisiana was one of the byes? They had 1 natural bye, so you get 2 byes at the end of the season when you're really kind of banged up.
Speaking of running backs being injured, I did want to mention this former Nebraska recruit and standout this year, CJ Riddell, is out for the season for Oregon.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a big hit for that team.
That's a big blow. I mean, they've already lost. They lost to Stanford last week,
yeah,
which was a big blow. But now they lose a marquee running back. Almost chose Nebraska. Nebraska was in on CJ Riddell out of high school. And obviously Oregon is in a better place football wise than Nebraska, and they were, I think, when he was choosing schools. But that's sad news for Oregon. I think they could still and probably still will win the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Although Arizona State's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's one of those conferences that.
But it makes you feel like it's almost, I don't want to say eliminated, but
they're eliminated from the college football playoff.
Pretty close to it. Especially if you have that loss of Stanford, then you're going to be banged up. It's going to be hard to convince the college football playoff committee that they'd be in but I mean, if they win out, they might still have a chance.
Yeah, they might. I think that's one of those conferences that has to go undefeated in my mind to make
almost every year. It seems like
the ACC feels like that this year. Although who knows, Clemson's now lost 2 games, so they're completely out of it.
Yeah.
But it feels like the ACC
Wake
is
Forest
out of it. They're undefeated, 5-0, right? But they haven't played anybody. So the ACC's out of it. Looks like the Pac-12 is out of it. And that's maybe where you get 2 Big Ten teams.
Maybe. I think the SEC is probably going to get 2.
Yeah, they get 2.
Cincinnati, you're going to what if Cincinnati and BYU go undefeated?
Right.
Can you put both of them? Can you just choose one of them?
No, they're going to have a chore. Probably, yeah, right. You're probably, the winner of this weekend's game has the inside track. Iowa, much better than Penn State, because Penn State would still have to play Ohio State. They have Michigan State, I think, on the schedule. They have Michigan on the schedule. So their schedule is much tougher than is Iowa's going. So for the Big Ten to get a playoff team, it's probably Iowa with the best chance to do it, assuming they win this weekend.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know if their schedule holds up enough to be the 1-loss team. Like if they went to Indy and lost to Ohio State, would they get in? I mean, if it's a close game, maybe
they'd have to lose to somebody other than Ohio State. Maybe Nebraska. Maybe it could help.
Yeah, maybe they lose in the regular season, then beat Ohio State.
Right. Nebraska goes on a little bit of a run here, and they beat Iowa. And that doesn't look as bad at that point. And then they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. They're in the playoff. Done.
Trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get to box tops.
All right, let's prepare for the weekend. The top 10 Wolverines on the Michigan team now. And as always, I jump around from position to position and not just load up on wide receivers and running backs, so you get a better feel of the whole team. And for this team, their wide receivers don't deserve much. Wouldn't probably get to in the top 10 anyway. But number 10, let's start with the offensive line. Number 71, Andrew Stuber. He's 6'7", 338, good-sized right tackle, a senior among 3 returning starters on offense. Remember, there wasn't a whole lot coming back on the offense, but on the offensive line, him and left guard Chuck Falagia are returners, and they kind of lead that group.
Yeah, they're a really good offensive line. They're first in the league in rushing, so that tells you that. And their quarterback has been sacked like once.
Yeah,
that's a really good offensive line.
They rarely throw it. It's one of those deals.
Yeah,
but still,
they haven't had to.
Yeah,
they haven't had to yet.
Number 9 on my list is number 13, Jake Moody, the senior kicker. He's 8 for 9 on the year. Pretty good kicker. 23 of 23 for extra points. 25 of 33 on his career. He split place kicking duties last year, but the other guy had moved on. So he's a career 76% field goal kicker. Never missed an extra point. Hit all 55 of those. As far as his leg goes, I think he's got 1 over 50. One career kick over 50, 1 of 3 from attempting those, but 6 of 10 career over 40 yards. So he's got a bit of a leg on him.
You say he's 8 of 9 this year? I mean,
yeah.
If Nebraska's kicker was 8 of 9, don't you think they might have at least one more win?
I think they would.
I think they would.
That would be nice. Yeah. Number 8 on my list. How about number 6? Wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. He's 6'3", 211. You have to remember their best wide receiver, Ronnie Bell, is out for the year, so they're a bit banged up. But Cornelius leads the group. Cornelius Johnson, 10 receptions, 245 yards, had an 87-yard reception against Northern Illinois. He's got 560 career receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, including a team-high 3 receiving touchdowns last season. Other guys to look out for among that receiving group, Roman Wilson had a really good game against Wisconsin, 6 receptions for 81 yards. A bit banged up, though, so we'll see if he plays this week. As far as their tight end goes, Eric All has 9 receptions for 97 yards, so they incorporate the tight ends a little bit as well.
I wonder, losing Ronnie Bell is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that guy's a really good player, but Cornelius Johnson, you just pointed out, he's a big guy. He's a big body guy. They've got talent. I mean, obviously, they've recruited at a high enough level. I don't know if they have a Ronnie Bell, though.
No, they definitely don't. No. That was a big loss for him. I mean, he's borderline, all Big Ten. There's a couple of guys at Ohio State that are all American types that kind of hurt the all Big Ten discussion, but normally he would be. Number 7 on my list, how about their quarterback, number 12, Kade Mcnamara. He's 6'11", 212 from Reno, Nevada.
He's 6'11"?
Did I say that?
You said 6'11".
6'1".
Oh, I wish you were 6'11".
That would be cool. They should be a 7-foot quarterback someday.
There really should be, yeah. But he's only 6'1".
He's not that guy. He's 50 of 81 on the year for 731 yards, 5 touchdowns, maybe most importantly, 0 interceptions. They don't turn the ball over. Not much of a threat on the ground. 11 carries for 9 yards. Does have a touchdown, and it's coming off a season high in basically every one of these categories. 17 of 28, 197 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Wisconsin. So he used the air attack a little bit more. He stepped in for Joe Milton last year and helped win a few games. They lost a few games he started too, but was kind of a part-time starter last year. And of course, Milton's on to Tennessee, so McNamara's got the job.
He reminds me a little bit of Peyton Thorne, not so much by what he does. It's just that he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's basically what they're asking of their quarterback. Don't make any mistakes. Don't hurt us. And he hasn't. But then he hasn't had to win a game yet either. They haven't been behind the entire year.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Number 6 on my list, number 12, Josh Ross, the 6'2", 225 in-state Mike linebacker from Southfield, Michigan. He leads the team with 32 tackles, half of a sack, had 11 tackles against Washington, and his half a sack last week against Wisconsin. Has 162 career tackles. So, I mean, he's usually leading the team in tackles.
I'm looking at all the linebackers you have in your top 5 for Michigan players.
Yeah.
That's scary.
They're pretty good.
They're really, really good defensively. And they've got some great linebackers. He's just one of them.
Yeah, a lot of linebackers and a couple running backs in my top 5. We'll start off with number 25, Hassan Haskins, the 6'1", 220 senior running back from St. Louis, has 80 carries for 369 yards. That goes for 4.6 yards per carry and 6 touchdowns, including a huge performance against Washington, 27 carries, 155 yards. Actually, him along with Blake Coram, they both had that type of number against Washington, so they really beat up Washington. But he led the team with 375 yards rushing last season, has a career 1,366 career yards and 16 touchdowns. So at least coming in this season, the most proven running back in their group. But as we know, Blake Coram has shined brightly this year.
Yeah, they've got a great 1-2 combination, but Haskins is good.
He is really good.
He's just not as good as Coram.
Yeah. And he's been doing well lately. Coram has dropped off the last couple of games, so Haskins has stepped up a little bit. Number 4 on my list, number 55, David Ojabo, who is a 6'5", 250-pound linebacker from Aberdeen, Scotland. How about that? Yeah, maybe he'd like to go to that game next year when Nebraska.
I bet he would.
If
you invited him, he'd get to see some family members. Free trip.
He might be busy. I'm sure that's week 0, so he probably wouldn't.
How
be
many
busy.
players play football from Scotland?
I don't know.
In college football,
Probably not too many.
There's probably like 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if he's the only one.
Well, either way, the Scotland product is doing pretty good so far. 15 tackles, 3.5 sacks, which is second on the team, and 2 forced fumbles. Coming off a great performance as he was co-Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Yeah. Co with who? Do you know that one?
Luke Reimer.
Jojo Doman,
Doman.
Yeah, Jojo Doman had it last week. But he had a very good game against Wisconsin. 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks against the Badgers.
That's right. It was Luke had it earlier this year, right?
Yep, Luke Reimer's already done it. So
yep.
It's a group effort from Nebraska. Hopefully another guy gets one of those before the season ends.
I like it. Good pick. Another linebacker.
Yep. Number 3 on my list, number 30, Daxton Hill, the 6-foot, 190-pound junior, former 5-star safety from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He has 24 tackles, 4 pass deflections, 1 interception. Only 2 interceptions for Wisconsin so far this year. So they're not creating a whole lot of turnovers.
Right.
Half a sack that knocked Graham Mertz out of the game last week. 105 career tackles to go with 3 interceptions. He's a staple in their secondary.
I wonder how much blitzing they'll do. Do you think they'll blitz a lot?
Yeah, I think they'll blitz a little bit.
I mean, there's that big debate. Do you spy a guy like Adrian, or you try to blitz him and rush him? And sometimes that doesn't work out well when he scrambles.
Yeah, I would always spy him, but that doesn't always work either. So it's tough. You have to have the right guy with the right speed to do that. Number 2 on my list, that running back, Blake Coram. He is actually number 2 on the football field as well. 5'8", 200-pound running back, sophomore running back from Marshall, Virginia. He has 84 carries for 521 yards. That's good for 6.2 yards a pop and 7 touchdowns. He averaged 135 yards per game in the first 3 games. Really started off well, averaging just 57 in the last 2. So he's been slowed down a bit, but also look out for him out of the backfield in the receiving game. 9 receptions, 165 yards, and a touchdown.
I don't think he's quite as slippery, but he reminds me a little bit of Darren Sproles, that type of run. He can just waddle under tackles. That's not the right word. Slip under tackles. He's really good. He's only 5'8", but he's really strong at 200.
Yeah, he's a tough runner.
Yeah, he's really good.
And number 1 on the list, a potential top half of the first-round draft pick, and he's playing well this year. Number 97, Aidan Hutchinson. They're a little bit surprised in Ann Arbor that he just chose to come back, but he did. He's 6'6", 265, defensive end from Plymouth, Michigan. 18 tackles, 4.5 sacks, a forced fumble, 111 career tackles to go with 9 career sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So great career and a good start to the year for first-year defensive coordinator Mike Mcdonald.
Yeah, he's a big guy, 6'6", 265, as you said. I think you can make the argument he's the best player. He's maybe the most dynamic defensive player. I mean, Nebraska's going to have to chip on him, use a running back on him, something.
He's a big test for those tackles. Of course, one guy's switching positions, the other guy's starting for the first time. So,
and they move him around a lot. So it's not easy to just say he's going to always be here. They move him around. So he's really dangerous. That's a good list. I think I agree with it.
Does it make you feel more or less confident about the game?
Less
confident.
But I mean, that changes minute by minute with me. I don't honestly know who I'm going to pick. We have to, we've got an hour and almost an hour and a half before I have to make that pick. So I feel good that I'll come up with something. Something will come out of my mouth when I make that prediction. But we're not going to include that game in the picks of density. In fact, we're not doing the picks of density next like we had planned because we have a guest. His name is Aaron McMahon, and he writes for the Ann Arbor News, and he talks about Michigan football on the radio with us coming up next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs. Century Electric is now hiring for experienced licensed electricians. This position will serve around the Lincoln area on both commercial and residential jobs. Century Electric is well established with 40 years in operation. It offers a substantial hiring bonus as well as tons of benefits. For more information or to apply, go online to centuryelectric.com and click the careers tab or call them at 402-467-5550. Come work for a great company today with Century Electric, whose commitment is always to their customers.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Pius X. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Pius X has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romeri won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to the ticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Maximize your savings with Bryant. Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of the Huskers. Bryant offers efficient heating and cooling system options to help you save on your monthly utility bill. If you act now, their team can pair Bryant and local utility rebates to further maximize your savings. Hurry. These rebates are for a limited time only. Call Bryant. Ask for a free estimate to maximize your savings and improve your comfort. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. In the interest of safety, the 2021 Step Forward Awards is moving to a virtual space. Help us celebrate volunteerism and thank volunteers for all they do by tuning in to the 2021 Virtual Step Forward Awards. Visit serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It's Michigan Week, Bock. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You'll be doing the post game and
right.
the pregame show. Of course, we'll be at Tipsy Tina's 8th and Q in the Haymarket 2.5 hours before game time. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we kick things off. But to kick things off, you got to know a little bit more about the opponent, Bock.
That's right.
So let's do that right now. Aaron McMahon of the Ann Arbor News covers Michigan football for the Ann Arbor News. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm good, guys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. This is a team in Michigan that is obviously very good defensively, the number one rushing team in the Big Ten, but we still feel like we don't really know who they are. Do you feel like you have a good grasp of who this team is?
Well, that's a good question. You know, I think we know the identity and what they want to do. They want to run the football. They want to be physical. They want to be, tough up front. But we really haven't seen them been able to do that against, a better competition. They had to throw the ball last week against Wisconsin and get it done. and that's kind of the assumption moving forward, is Michigan's going to have to be balanced to be successful. And they played largely inferior competition at this point. They had a decent win against Washington at home, but as we've seen, Washington just isn't the team I think many of us expected them to be this year. So yes and no. I mean, this is very much a throwback to the old school Jim Harbaugh days when he first got to Michigan, where they wanted to pound the rock and be physical. They had gone away from that the last couple of years. They tried to throw the ball and be more, spread based. But Jim obviously was feeling the pressure. He needs to win. And they went back to that kind of the beginning of this year. And so far at least it's worked.
And I think Nebraska fans might kind of relate to this team because Nebraska's had, a few years ago where they were in 7-0 in the top 10, but they didn't know who they were because they hadn't played anybody yet. Is the pressure coming off of Jim Harbaugh a little bit there in Ann Arbor because of the start, or is it still kind of, you have to beat Michigan State and Ohio State to be loved there in Ann Arbor?
I think the pressure's starting to, but you're right. They need to get those big wins. They need to beat Michigan State. They need to probably win 9 or 10 games this year. Because look, no one was really happy with last year. No, they went 2-4. They struggled defensively, especially. I think, the assumption coming into this year that Michigan was probably going to be a 7 or 8 win team. Obviously, they're 5-0 at this point. I think, realistically speaking, they're probably looking at 8 or 9 wins right now. The pressure has cooled. But that being said, the fan base wants a championship. I mean, they've been starved for one since Jim Harbaugh's gotten here. Well, before Jim Harbaugh's gotten here, obviously. But the assumption was he was going to get it done. He hasn't gotten it done, and until he does, I think the pressure will be on him.
We're talking with Aaron McMahon of the Ann Arbor News. Of course, he came into the season. He took the pay cut down to $4 million. That's still a large chunk of money. But have you seen him change physically? He's lost some weight. He looks great. But have you seen a change in his personality this year?
That's a good question. I think I have a little bit. I've been covering the team since 2017, and I've kind of seen it all. I've seen the rambunctious, spunky Jim Harbaugh at the very beginning, and the last couple of years, he didn't seem to be himself. Now, I think the losing was a big part of that. The struggles and the inability to get over the hump. But you're right. He has lost weight. He seems more jovial in press conferences week to week. He does seem like a different guy. And I think, the spark really began in the offseason when he kind of changed the coaching staff. He brought in a bunch of different new assistants, a brand new defensive coordinator, and the common denominator among it all is they're all younger. So it's a younger, more active staff. And I think in a way that has Jim Harbaugh feeling a little bit younger too.
And I mean, there's got to be positive reviews, at least for Mike Mcdonald taking over there. And remind me of the story. Didn't they have another defensive coordinator they had for like a week, and then he took another job?
Yeah. So they had so it was a co-defensive coordinator. He ended up leaving for Buffalo. Yeah, he was there for a few months during spring ball, and then he ended up taking the head job at Buffalo. That was Maurice Linguist.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it seemed like to me it was like some offseason would be tough to get that defense together, but obviously they're doing it very dominant there. Everybody knows about Aidan Hutchinson, the all Big Ten type of defensive end rusher. Who else should Nebraska fans look for on that defense?
Well, they've got some experienced guys. The one key guy kind of in the defensive backfield, the safety Daxton Hill, he's been around for a couple of years now. He started last year. He's considered to be an NFL guy, caliber player. They got him playing all over the field. You'll see him line up at the line of scrimmage on Saturday. He'll blitz the quarterback. He will drop back in coverage. He's almost like a secondary version of Aidan Hutchinson in a way. They got him doing everything, and he's making plays, so they like him. They've got experience at linebacker in Josh Roth. He's a fifth-year senior, a guy that probably didn't have to come back. He probably would have gotten drafted maybe late in the NFL draft, back in April, but he opted to come back. He's playing probably some of his best football to date. So Michigan's really very much kind of emphasized those three guys, and they've surrounded them with some younger, hungrier, less experienced guys that are kind of just getting their feet wet. And they've done a good job. I mean, Michigan's defensive scheme has very much changed in the past couple of years. I know you guys haven't seen it a ton, but they're all about blitzing, getting the quarterback in pressure, and they're still doing that. But it's very, they're picking their spot, and they've been pretty good. They're playing more zone in the defensive backfield, and that's helped them too.
On the offensive side of the ball, Kade Mcnamara has taken over. He completes 60% of his passes, has 5 TDs, hasn't been asked to do a lot. What do they want from him?
Well, I think they want what they're getting. They've asked him to be a game manager. And that's what they've gotten. Kade doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but he's an experienced, mature veteran. He's only a redshirt sophomore, but he acts like a senior. He's very much confident in the pocket. He feels like he can lead this offense, and that's what he's done. They haven't asked him to go out and win the game. They just asked him to move down the field and score points, and that's what he's done. He's been very efficient. Hasn't been outstanding, but he hasn't been awful either. He hasn't turned the ball over yet. So this will be his eighth game, playing in college. He has not thrown an interception yet. He has not fumbled the ball. He's not been sacked. So he's very much a very confident young man, and you're seeing it on Saturday. Now you're seeing it on Saturdays. Now that's not to be said. I'm very curious to see how he handles, as competition grows here. But he's been pretty good. He's been everything they've asked for and probably more.
That competition that you mentioned, J.J. McCarthy, do you expect maybe a package for him? He's been appearing in more and more games, or is that just blowout stuff?
Yeah, no, you saw it last week in their win. They used J.J. more and read option stuff on occasion. They used him primarily in the second half, and they picked their spots. It wasn't every drive. It wasn't every down. But you probably will see him. They like his arm. He has a much stronger arm than Kade Mcnamara. He's just a true freshman. They're trying to let him kind of grow into the college game and get his bearings around him. But they like what they have there. But yeah, I would not be surprised if you say JJ on Saturday, whether the game ends up being lopsided or not. They like what they have in him, and he kind of brings the added dimension of, when you throw him out there, you not automatically assume he's going to run the ball because he does have an arm. So yes, I expect to see him on Saturday from the Creek.
And of course, Michigan led by two really good running backs in Blake Coram and Hassan Haskins. What are their running styles that the Blackshirt defense is going to have to prepare for?
Yeah, they call him Thunder and Lightning. Hassan is very much that bigger back who likes to break tackles and kind of run over guys. Blake is kind of more of the agile type guy. He likes to get outside and also break those big runs. They like to use them both. They like to use them separately. You'll see them quite a bit. They'll probably, share 20, 25 carries each. Michigan don't be surprised. They will come out Saturday night looking to run the football and trying to establish the ground game. And then what happens from there remains to be seen. But that has been their MO so far through 5 games.
Yep.
Running the football and trying to establish it, and that they will absolutely do that on Saturday.
We're talking with Aidan McMahon of the Ann Arbor News. What's the level of concern from the coaching staff and Jim Harbaugh for Nebraska this week?
Well, there's concern because, Michigan saw, to some degree the option offense a couple of weeks ago when they played Rutgers, and they didn't fare too well defensively against it. Rutgers was able to move the football. They were able to score some points in the second half. Michigan won the football game, but it wasn't a clean game and it wasn't a complete game. So I think there's some concern. This Michigan's treating this as, is a big game. I don't think they're looking ahead because I don't think they can afford to. They respect the job that Adrian Martinez has done. They respect his ability. And it's going to be a tough test for this defense because we've seen this Michigan defense go up against kind of a little bit of everything so far. Some big arms, some ground game, and we saw, like I said, we saw the option a few weeks ago as Rutgers, but this is just another notch up. So they're preparing for it. I think they're looking to see how they react. But I think Michigan's going to come ready.
Real quickly, I did want to ask you about the loss of Ronnie Bell and how big that's been. Obviously, at some point, Michigan's going to have to rely on that passing game. Have they found a replacement for him, or he's just too good to find a replacement that will be at his caliber?
It's still a work in progress. He was their biggest deep ball threat. They can hit him down the field. He was very good at getting yards after catches. They haven't been able to replace them. And look, Jim Harbaugh and the coaching staff, they were pretty upfront about it when the injury first happened. They said, we're not going to be able to rely on one guy to replace Ronnie's productivity. They were going to have to lean on several. And they've gotten, bits and pieces here. Cornelius Johnson right now is their number one option. They've gone him quite a bit pretty much every game. They've got a grad transfer from Jackson State coming in, and Dalen Baldwin, who they like to target early on. But there will be other options there. Roman Wilson had his career game last week. They'll target Mike Sanders still and some other guys. So expect Michigan to use a large group of receivers. They can't afford to just rely on one or two. And it's really going to depend on, how this offense works. If they can get multiple receivers involved and going early, I think they'll be okay. But if not, if Nebraska can kind of keep this at bay, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah. Talking with Aidan McMahon of the Ann Arbor News. Where is the fan base right now with Jim Harbaugh in this program? Are they still in a wait and see mode, or have they gotten over it? Like Michigan has potentially turned a corner.
They're in the show me mode. I think they've been told a lot for the last 4 or 5 years. 7 years going back to Jim's first year. They're like I said earlier, they're weighing on a championship, and I think anything less is a disappointment. Now, that being said, expectations weren't very high this year. I think if Michigan can win 8, 9, 10 games this year, I think that's a step in the right direction. But the timeline has shrunk for Jim. I think realistically speaking, he signed an extension the offseason, but I think he's really got 2 years. This year is an opportunity to show that he can build his program back up after a 2-4 disappointing year. And I think they've shown that so far. We'll see how the end of the season goes. But I really think next year is going to be the kind of do or die year for Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan athletic department.
Before we let you go and get your prediction and let you go, is there anything else? You mentioned the option. Is there anything else with this matchup that you maybe are as on the Michigan side a little bit worried about with Nebraska?
I'm really curious to see how Michigan is running the ball early. I mentioned that they're going to try and establish it. I don't know how well they're going to fare. They tried last week against Wisconsin, rushed for 100 yards or so. If they can rack up 150, 200 yards, I think it's going to be a tough day for Nebraska. But if Nebraska can stop Michigan's rushing game and force them to throw the ball, I think this game could be a lot closer than I think it could be really close than some people think.
All right, Aaron, what's your pick?
I went with Michigan by 7. But I would not be surprised if anything happens here. This could very much be a letdown game for Michigan. I could see them coming slow out of the gate. And that's the thing about Michigan so far. I don't know if your listeners know this, but Michigan has not trailed in a game yet this year.
Yeah.
They've gotten out to fast starts. That's kind of been their MO, and they've been able to build off that and hold the football, run the clock out. So if Nebraska can score first or get going first, it's going to put Michigan in an unfamiliar territory, and I'd be really curious to see how they respond. So if I'm Nebraska, I try and push it early because this game could be, I think, will be tight until the very end.
Yeah, Scott Frost has talked a lot about that, getting up early and not having to throw against that great Michigan defense all night. Great stuff. We appreciate it, Aaron. Thanks for the time.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
He's Aaron McMahon of the Arbor News, Ann Arbor News. There's no Arbor News, Ann Arbor News, and good stuff. Good work down there.
I feel like I know Michigan a lot better.
Michigan. I feel like I don't know Michigan. I mean, I can hear all this stuff, but I don't think I know who Michigan. I mean, that, as we said, we ended that conversation with Aaron. They've been behind all season.
Yeah.
They haven't played. The best team they played is Wisconsin, right?
Washington, maybe Rutgers, Western Michigan.
I mean, Washington we thought was good. It turned out they're not good. Rutgers is a team that just lost to Ohio State 52-7, no, 52-14, something like that.
I will give credit for this. They did have although the Washington game lost some of its fire. It was like a night game, big, national TV audience. So they at least played kind of under a spotlight in that game.
I like the fact that Harbaugh is going back to what he knows. It kind of reminds me what he was doing at Stanford with Andrew Luck and guys like that, and what he was doing early on at Michigan when Nebraska last faced them in 2018 when they destroyed them 56-10. They were just smash mouth, more like Wisconsin type football, and then they went with more of a spread thing. And now they've kind of gone back to their roots, and we'll see if it works. Again, they haven't been tested, and I do wonder what happens if they're in a close game, not even losing. If Nebraska just is close with them in the fourth quarter, how they react, because I don't think we know.
Yeah. I mean, watching that into the Rutgers game, if you watch that one, I mean, they were just holding on. That whole second half was just barely holding on to the lead.
They had a 20-3 lead, and then they got really conservative.
Yeah.
And I think
they couldn't get a first down.
Yeah. And Rutgers is a pretty decent team, but at least I thought they were. And then they got destroyed by Ohio State. But Ohio State's really good. That has happened. I'll be interested to see what happens this weekend. Obviously, that's why we go to the game and we talk about the game, and we'll talk more about it coming up. But in the meantime, we got to get to Wingman. 464-5685. Call the Honda of Lincoln hotline to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Today, it's Friday, so that means Theme Song Friday. I've got a theme song picked out, and Bock will be the Wingman, so will Nick, and we'll do it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Maximize your savings with Bryant. Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of the Huskers. Bryant offers efficient heating and cooling system options to help you save on your monthly utility bill. If you act now, their team can pair Bryant and local utility rebates to further maximize your savings. Hurry! These rebates are for a limited time only. Call Bryant. Ask for a free estimate to maximize your savings and improve your comfort. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Ready for this?
1, 2, 3, up.
At Madonna Rehabilitation Hospitals, success in rehabilitation is measured in breakthroughs. Taking a step after a brain injury, feeling reassurance after a spinal trauma, saying a word after a stroke. We bring hope and healing to adults and children through clinical expertise, cutting-edge research, and innovative technology. After traumatic illness and injury, when some might say, I can't, at Madonna we work hard to say, now you can. Learn more at madonna.org.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Areas of patchy fog again this morning, then warming to 84 by later this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a light southeast wind at 10. We'll see partly cloudy skies again tonight with the low dropping down to 62. Despite an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, it will be hot as we'll top out near 89. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from Yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Ow! God!
Ow! Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415. Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Who's in? Who's out? And what'll happen Sunday when the Broncos battle the Steelers?
Quick pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, and he is going to be hit and sacked.
Join Dave Logan and Rick Lewis as the Broncos try to bounce back into the win column.
Touchdown, Denver!
On the KOA Broncos Radio Network.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline so you can win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings and go get chickens.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yardbirds.
All right. The wingmen are here. I predict they will not know the answer to the question, what is this theme song today? I don't think it's of your era, and I don't think you'll know it, which kind of brings me joy. But here it is. There it is.
Rocket, go! Oh, people know him. People know it.
Oh, people know it?
There's our text line lit up.
It's lit up.
Phone line, I should say.
464-5685 if you know that theme song. It's great. It just gives me joy hearing that song. It's way up there with the Jeffersons for me. It's one of my top 10. It might be top 5.
One of your favorite theme songs or shows?
Any idea, Nick?
I have no clue.
Yeah, you're not
Bock?
going to get much help from your wingman.
All right. The wingmen will be of no help. Sorry, Keith. You're going to have to come up with the answer on your own. Hi, Keith.
Not a problem.
All right.
Sanford and Son.
Let's go. It's Sanford and Son.
Of course.
He was a trash guy. He collected trash, and it was very fun. Red Fox was his name. Comedian, also did stand up.
That's right. Yeah.
Here's a sample of some of the jokes that were told on that show. Smoking killed a good friend of mine. He got run over by a tobacco truck.
There you go.
See, tobacco truck.
That's crazy.
See, that's a sample of the great jokes of the 70s. Red Fox was a big, famous comedian.
He was pretty old already doing that.
I would say he was in his late 50s or 60s,
Hmm.
maybe just an old-looking 50 or into his 60s.
He just
I don't know.
looked old at least.
But yeah, I think he lived into his 80s.
Oh, good.
So there you go. It was very, very popular show.
Was
of
his
my
son part of it? Was that was
Lamont helped him collect the trash, and they lived together.
Was it like a business that they
It was
ran
a business.
together?
Yeah, it was a junk business.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never watched that, but
And
I've
then-
heard of it.
Yeah, he would always say his wife died, and he always say, "I'm coming to see you, Elizabeth," and he would hold his heart because every time something bad happened.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, no help from. We didn't need the wingmen's help today.
No,
we didn't need it. But I just wanted it would be refreshing that you guys don't always know the answer.
Yeah, it's good when the wingmen don't help.
Yeah. How are you feeling, guys? How you feeling about the game?
We're hanging in there.
You're not. Have you made your prediction yet on the show?
I have not. I'm going to do it today.
You're holding it. You're holding it back.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you
Teasing
guys yet. I have a show from 2 to 3 that I'll tell you about it.
We'll give our predictions right at the pregame. We do the pregame right before the show ends. And Nick joins us, so does Rico, and we'll do our predictions then.
Can you at least say if you think Nebraska will cover?
I haven't decided on my prediction.
Haven't
yet, so
decided
that's
yet,
why
okay.
I'm going back and forth here.
Is it still 3.5? Are we still?
I
at
think
3?
it's 3.
Is it 3?
Is it down to 3? No, that makes it more difficult.
Okay.
The one article I read from, I think Sports Illustrated this morning said it was at 3 now. So it could still be 3.5. 3.5. Rico says 3.5. So let's go with what Rico says. I do think there is a weird sense of comfort and confidence in Nebraska this weekend, though. I will say.
I'm not
seems like
feeling
it, yeah.
it yet. I'm not.
Tom, for some reason, doesn't get it.
Tom's holding back.
I'm really
Yeah.
nervous right now.
I feel like this is a very vulnerable top 10 team. Just at the right time, Nebraska is feeling
Right.
coming up, feeling very good. So I mean, I think the stars are aligned for Nebraska victory this weekend.
Okay, then let's do that. What if it doesn't happen? What if Nebraska loses? And we're going to talk about this a little bit here in a while, but what if it doesn't work out in Nebraska's favor?
Then it'll be just like every other big game
what's
over the last 10
Okay,
years.
so then
We're
what's
pretty used to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what's the response then? Is it going to be Michigan, how it was after
I
Michigan
think it'll
State?
be. I don't think it'll be apathy, but I think people will just say, "Okay, that's kind of what I thought would happen, or I thought could happen."
Yeah.
And let's move on. We still got opportunities. I think there's still some optimism, even if they lose this game for
Really?
the future. I do.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the world's ending or anything. You have Minnesota next week. You're still kind of on pace for your 6-6 bowl game. But that's been my point the whole week. This is kind of that game to get you out of that 6-6. Let's get to 6 mindset and really take a step forward in the program. Not just a small step, but a big step by getting a big victory.
If they lose like how they lost to Oklahoma in a close game, or they just made some silly mistakes, we're going to be mad. But at least we're thinking, at least they're still close. Kind of similar to Michigan State. You had the game won, but bad punt. Still close. If they get blown out, That's a different story.
Okay, if they lose by a short margin or a small margin, and it's similar, to like Oklahoma, like you just said, when is enough going to be enough? When are we going to say, as Nebraska fans, say, okay, that's it? Like we're tired of this.
I don't think they'll be.
How much longer are excuse me, are Nebraska fans okay with saying we were close?
I think that ends. I think that's done. I don't think that they'll be. I don't think they'll be happy. I just don't think there will be a. I don't think it'll be like time to burn it down and start over. Or
I'm not
anything
necessarily
like that,
saying
so.
that either.
I know, but
I think it's just a.
But I think
once
you're
again,
right.
It's oh no, here we go again.
I think the goodwill for being close. I mean, because we're still talking about it. This is one of the hottest Nebraska's been, and they've been 1-2 over the last 3 weeks. So
Which is wild.
They haven't finished strong in a couple of those games. So I think I mean they could play a good game and play close, and then but I don't think we're gonna keep going. This is the hottest they've been. They're 1-3 over the last 3. At a certain point, you just have to win the game rather than be close. And Nebraska seems to be at that point. You've been close. That's a step forward in big games than what Nebraska's been traditionally. But you got to get over that hump.
Here's this one for you guys. Do you have more confidence in the idea? These are your only two options: Nebraska winning big or Nebraska losing big.
I think Nebraska's got a chance to win big in this one.
I think I have more confidence that they'll lose big. But I don't think they will.
But I mean,
of those two options,
That's
I don't think they'll win big, and I don't think they'll lose big. I think they have a very good chance. But I think either way, it's going to be a fourth quarter game, and whoever wins is going to win by a small margin.
If they lose big, it'd have to be that they just couldn't stop the run because Michigan's not going to. That's the only way that Michigan's going to do it. And I just don't see that happening from this defense. So, but I do see a potential where if they do stop the run, then Michigan's in trouble. They can't score a lot of points. And, maybe Nebraska has a similar offensive output to last week. Maybe not quite that, obviously, but, you can have a blowout at 31-3 or, a 38 to 14. I mean, I could see one of those type of scenarios playing out too.
I think I've asked this question, but I'll ask you both again. If Nebraska wins, is this the signature? Is this the stamp game that Frost finally gets? He hasn't beaten a top 25 team, period.
No.
And so we're all waiting for that corner turning game. This could be it, right?
Yeah, it'd definitely be the most impressive win under Scott Frost.
Yep.
No matter how they win.
Not just that,
I think it's
though.
the most impressive.
I think that people will start saying, okay, look, you got an option, you got the quarterback, you got an identity. You beat a big name team in your house under the lights. This is for real, and this is what they are. I mean, we've been saying, even though they're not winning, against Oklahoma, maybe even a little bit before that, this is who they are after a loss to Michigan State. Yeah, not always good, but we know what we're going to get. And now that you've corrected some of those mistakes in a win over Northwestern, 56-7, I think people want to know that it's for real. And I think for a lot of people, this would prove that it's for real.
I would agree with you there, but then what's the narrative going to be going into Minnesota? Is there some sort?
Got to prove it again.
So, yeah, exactly. So that just shows that every week is Scott Frost's biggest game.
Well, I think it is. It's
I don't think if they beat Michigan that Minnesota will be the biggest game. I think you would have to say that Michigan's there.
Okay, but what if Nebraska then beats Michigan and loses to Minnesota?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about? What does that tell you about the program?
Happening? I could see that happening. Every game is going to be close. It feels like every game from here on out, even Purdue. You can't point to a game. Every game is going to be a fourth quarter game, and you're going to Nebraska may play great and lose, or may play mediocre.
I just don't know if that's the case, though. I mean, if we've seen if what we've seen from the offense was true, like, and I agree with you guys. I'm not buying in completely yet that now the team's changed, but I believe in the defense because I've seen it all over the whole season that's what the defense is going to be. If the offense in the offensive line, the adjustments and Yant coming on, I mean, if all that continues, then you don't have. I don't think you're in all these four quarter games. Then you have a complete team.
And I don't like to do all these hypotheticals, but it's just something to think about. That
I love doing.
We
all
sometimes
these
see.
That's all we do all offseason.
Maybe I suppose, but then I guess at some point it's just like it's same conversations every week. It seems like.
Well, they're varied, but we do ask the same questions about this team all the time in different ways.
Exactly.
But the storyline always changes. That's kind of why you keep rephrasing it sometimes in a different way. But the storyline for me is still prove it.
Yes.
Even if they prove it this week, we're going to want them to prove it again because we haven't seen it often enough. And that's okay. Let's get to break and come back with our picks of density. We make all the big picks of the week. Currently, I'm leading 13 to 14. I'm 13 to 14. You are 9 and 18 right now, Bock. You got to pick it up. You got to get going. Come on, man. Hopefully your picks this week are magical. We'll do it next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion censored switchboard.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course.
Oh, God. Ow. Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Piasex. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Piasex has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romery won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Welcome to today's episode of The Great Unknowns. Last time we talked about why chickens can't just cross the road in peace. Today's topic is the great unknowns of the future. Like, am I ready for what life throws at me? Well, that answer is easy. Just call a local State Farm agent. State Farm agents will help you plan for the what ifs in life so you know what to expect if the unexpected happens. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Call your local State Farm agent Vinny Krekak at 402-474-1173.
Maximize your savings with Bryant. Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of the Huskers. Bryant offers efficient heating and cooling system options to help you save on your monthly utility bill. If you act now, their team can pair Bryant and local utility rebates to further maximize your savings. Hurry. These rebates are for a limited time only. Call Bryant. Ask for a free estimate to maximize your savings and improve your comfort. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from Yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I think today is probably overall the best practice I've been a part of at Nebraska.
Jake Bockelman.
I think we had our best week of practice ever again. So if our goal is to get better day by day, it's been a good week.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 3 on a Friday with Tom and Bock. It is Tom Stevens. That's me. That's Jake Bockelman. And Scott Frost spoke to the media yesterday. One of the questions, interesting, of course, about the offensive lineman. And you've got a couple of new faces there. Teddy Prohaska, left tackle. He's been really good, but one game. Obviously, he's facing a guy that's probably going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. But I want to hear what Scott Frost said about how the offensive line is responding this week to their assignments.
Yeah, they're preparing well. Thought they had a good start last week. Still a lot of room to improve, and hopefully they took another step this week in practice. We got to have more of the same, more low pad level, more movement. It's going to be harder this week, so guys got to be ready for that. And another week of practice doesn't hurt.
Thing I got out of that is the construction workers are working on the new building, the $155 million. So that was a little bit annoying. Cam Jurgens holding things together on the offensive line.
Yeah, Cam's a steady force. He's the leader up there. I love his attitude and just his personality. As much as his personality can seep onto everybody else, we want that to happen. He's aggressive. He's what we ask guys to do, and he's the one making the calls, so that makes it easier on anybody else that's playing that's new.
So there you go. This is Scott Frost talking about JoJo Doman.
Yeah, I was happy for JoJo. Anytime he has success, I'm really happy for him. He's been here through a lot, seen a lot, held up through a lot. He's a good player for us. He's got better players around him now than he's had before, and when plays are there for him to make, he makes them. So he's a key part of what we're doing, and really glad I've had an opportunity to coach him.
JoJo named Big Ten Player of the Week this week. This is Scott Frost talking about the running back rotation.
No, it's always up in the air, and I'm sure multiple guys will play again. And we had a couple guys play really well last week, so hopefully they can do the same thing. We start building some consistency.
There you go. Anything stick out to you? Anything? Just normal week of Scott Frost talking to the media.
Yeah, but it's good to hear about certain types of players, and it's interesting. I think somebody mentioned this on the text line. We're talking about guys that might leave after this season. Cam Jurgens is one to keep an eye on. I'd be interested. I think it might be better suited for him to come back if this offensive line gets rolling, so he can get a whole year and really build that. Because right now, I think with the troubles of the offensive line, the troubles of the snaps that he've had, there might be some questions there. There's no doubt he's an NFL offensive lineman, so that might be why he jumps early. But I could see him being a high pick if he decides to return.
If you're talking about the best player on this team, it's obviously Adrian Martinez. He's had a very, very good year, and we didn't have that conversation coming into this year. I think right now you're going to rank him top 3 quarterbacks. You could make the argument number 1. He's probably not number 1, but he's close. And considering where we had him at the start of the year, that's pretty cool. But Adrian has struggled in these games. He is 0 of 10 versus top 25 teams. Scott Frost, as we know, has never beaten a top 25 team. But you wanted to delve into the numbers with Adrian Martinez a little deper.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a Scott Frost and Adrian type of look, as they've been 0 and 10 against the top 25 since the era started. So to be fair to them, only 3 of those 10 games have been at home. So, that's kind of difficult to go on the road and get those wins, but averaged a 17.9 margin of defeat. But 5 of those games have been 1 possession. So some of the games they've been really blown out. Some of the games they've been close.
Okay. Go through some of them here.
Yeah, let's go through some of the numbers. I'll give you the total numbers of Adrian Martinez, because this is it's not picking on Adrian. It's just part of this is the story of his career, is that he needs that big win.
Right.
And so how he's prepared are done in these big games. Not bad as far as completion percentage, 157 to 242 for these 10 games, 65%. Hasn't not been able to get the ball in the end zone a whole lot. 5 touchdowns in 10 games passing. That's just not going to get it done most of the time. Of course, they have problems in the red zone. They go to him in rushing. So he does fare a little bit better. In 10 games, 9 rushing touchdowns against top 25 opponents, but only 180 yards per game passing through the air. He's been sacked 3.4 times per game against these top 25 opponents. And of course, that number's gone up this year, 7 sacks against Michigan State, 5 against Ohio State. So those have been rough. He's done all right on the ground, about 15.5 carries a game, 55 yards, and almost 1 rushing, 0.9 rushing touchdowns per game. But overall, again, 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 9 rushing touchdowns. But a total around 230 yards. Solid numbers. Just not quite there. I mean, there's certain games where he played really well. His freshman year against Wisconsin, 24 of 42, 384 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, and another touchdown rushing. So that was really impressive. And then there's been other games that first year against Michigan, this one's rough. 7 of 15, 22 yards, an interception, sacked 4 times, 7 carries for negative 12 yards. So
in defense of Adrian in that game, though, he could have been name your quarterback, Johnny Manziel, at his highest form. It wouldn't have mattered. You were not going to win that game. It didn't matter against Michigan that first year, 2018, who the quarterback was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but there's just been a few games to where that's not exactly an outlier.
Yeah.
Against Ohio State in 2019, 8 of 17, 47 yards, 3 interceptions, did get 81 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
Against Iowa that same year, 10 of 18, 50 yards, an interception. Ohio State in 2020, 12 15 for 105 yards to get again 85 yards on the ground. So he usually finds a way to be productive one way or the other, but the passing game is not always there. And so hopefully you see that this year. And again, this is all just it's kind of sad, and they're 0-10. These are not winning games.
Yeah.
But it's just to point out that he has not fared well, but he hasn't been playing as well as he has this year. So when you look at his numbers again this year against top 25 opponents, of course, Michigan State, he threw for 244. He ran for 72 against them. Against Oklahoma, he threw for 289. And ran for 34 and a touchdown against them. So, he's definitely been playing better, and I expect more close to those numbers than over his career. It's just, it's along with Scott Frost looking for that big win.
Well, he's going to get one. Maybe it's not this week, but Minnesota's not going to be a top 25 team anytime soon, but you've got a chance versus Ohio State. That's probably not going to happen either. Iowa, I think Iowa is I know that sounds crazy to say. That's a team that's top 10 in the country currently. I don't think that's a great team. I think it's a very good team. I don't think Michigan's a great team. I think it's a very good team. I think Ohio State's still great. And you're probably not going to get any credit this year for beating Wisconsin.
Not as far as top 25 goes.
I don't even know how much credit you'll get, because people will say, well, that was a bad Wisconsin team.
Yeah, and it is kind of sad, and I hope they beat them. I mean, we shouldn't talk about it like they already have the win in the bag, but it is kind of sad that sometimes that rivalry that never really took off because Nebraska couldn't win any games. You'd like to get over the hump by beating a top 25 Wisconsin and say, yeah, we've arrived, instead of Wisconsin falling to a bad level and then beating them.
Well, you got 3 chances to beat a top 25 team: Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa. Those are really good teams. Any one of those is going to be a Herculean task. So who knows? You might as well just get started and win Saturday night.
There you go.
Let's do our picks of density.
It's time now for the picks of density.
Because it's a destiny.
Wait, it says density on here.
I'm your density.
Oh, I get it. Because your picks carry a lot of weight, right?
That's some heavy shit, man.
All right, let's roll with it. The picks of density.
All right, we'll start with some games that maybe aren't at the top of your list, and then we'll work our way through the list. We got Stanford at Arizona State. Stanford is 3-2. Arizona State is 4-1. They are in 22nd in the country. Herm Edwards is actually doing a very good coaching job this year, despite the fact that he might be fired at the end of this year. But they are 4-1, and they're a 13-point favorite in this game. You're going to have to stay up late to watch it. It's 9:30 on ESPN. What do you think?
Yeah, that's tonight. So we get a picks of density to start off tonight. That's exciting. It is in Sun Devil Stadium. I like Jaden Daniels, their quarterback. Stanford obviously did just knock off Oregon, so they can play up to people. But at this one, I like Arizona State, even to cover. That's a lot of points. But I think Arizona State, they've been blowing out teams. And just beat UCLA, who we thought might have been one of the better Pac-12 teams. But Arizona State looking for real now.
I'm going to take Stanford in that one. I think I think Arizona State wins this game, but I don't think 13. I think 13 is way too much.
It is a lot.
That's a lot. And I do like Arizona State to win the game, but we are playing against the spread here. Okay, Michigan State and Rutgers. It's an 11 o'clock game on BTN on Saturday. Michigan State, 5-0, obviously a 5.5-point favorite, undefeated and undefeated in the conference. Obviously, if they're undefeated, they're just undefeated. They've got maybe the best running back in the country. We'll find out. I think Bijan Robinson has something to say about that. But he has 660 or 80 yards, 8 TDs. They have a quarterback who doesn't make mistakes in Peyton Thorne. What do you think? It's a 5. Is that too many at 5.5?
I don't think that's too many. I think Michigan State will cover this game. Like we said, we like Rutgers as a program kind of moving forward under Greg Schiano, but it's going to take a while to get that to where Michigan State is already kind of got there. You know, they've been able to jumpstart that thing. And I know a lot of people are kind of waiting for Michigan State to come back to earth. They maybe aren't as good as the ranking indicates, but Rutgers really has trouble scoring against good opponents. And I think that Michigan State defense is good enough to hold them down. So I like Michigan State in the cover here.
I'm taking Rutgers. I think the points, I think, again, Michigan State probably wins that game. I think Rutgers, you know me, I'm a big Greg Schiano fan. I think he's the real deal. And maybe a part of me is rooting for Noah Vedral as well in this game. So I'm going to take Rutgers and the 5.5. Okay, moving on. Arkansas versus Ole Miss. Both teams had 4-1 and coming off beat downs from last week. Arkansas loses 37-0 to Georgia. Alabama took care of Ole Miss 42-21. How do you see this one going?
Boy, Arkansas has some good wins on the resume, including Texas. But that getting shutouts hard to get back up. I mean, that's a huge ego loss there for Arkansas. And Ole Miss, that's still one of the top offenses in the nation. Of course, they had to check their ego against Alabama as well. But with this one being at home, I like Ole Miss to cover. And I don't know if you've seen this week, Lane Kiffin, he said before that Alabama game, he was interviewed on the sideline, said, get the popcorn ready. And then they got blown out. So now he's advertising with popcorn companies. So he's taking it in stride, in jest. And I think that that's the relaxed Ole Miss team. That offense is just too strong for Arkansas.
I think Matt Corral is the real deal. 6 picks last year in that game versus Arkansas and a loss. I think he recovers from that. Last year, I like, even in a defeat, 42-21, I thought Corral played well at times. They're just way overmatched. They're not going to be overmatched versus 13 Arkansas. I'm going to take Ole Miss and give the 5.5. Moving on to Georgia versus Auburn. Georgia is a 15.5-point favorite over number 18 Auburn. Auburn, exciting win over LSU last week. It's a 2:30 game on CBS. Georgia has scored more defensive touchdowns than they've allowed. They've scored more touchdowns on defense than they've allowed. They average 5 points, I believe, right around that. They're 5-0. Some are calling that the best defense maybe ever. Maybe it's a little too much hype. But they've given
the numbers are looking pretty darn good.
They've given up 3 points. They've given up 7 points, 13 points, 0-0 the last 2 weeks. That's a really good Georgia defense, and I'm buying in, and I think they win by 15.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Bo Nix coming off that big victory against LSU, but that offense doesn't score a whole lot of points other than, against the real opponents this year. They scored 20 against Penn State. They scored 24 in the win against LSU. Georgia, for what it's worth, probably going with Stetson Bennett, the backup quarterback, but they just have too much talent. I agree with you. I think Georgia covers.
Number 14, Notre Dame at Virginia Tech, 6:30 game on the ACC network. Surprised that's not a bigger televised game. Maybe I got that wrong. Notre Dame,
you're right.
Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati. Notre Dame's quarterbacks have been sacked 22 times this year. Jack Cohn, it doesn't matter. Drew Pine has been sacked a lot. And Virginia Tech's got a good defense. They of course have that North Carolina win, and they're 3-1. What do you think?
Yeah, that North Carolina win is okay. The North Carolina team hasn't looked very good or what we expected going into this game. But like you said, Notre Dame is struggling to really separate from anybody. They did late against Wisconsin, but coming off that loss, this one at Lane Stadium, that's one of the tougher places to play. And this isn't even, right? This is just a pick 'em.
This is just a pick 'em.
boy, that makes it difficult because I kind of thought that I'd get some points there on Virginia Tech's side. Yeah, I'll go with the upset. I'll go with, well, I don't know if it's an upset, but rankings-wise it is. I'll go with Virginia Tech.
I'll take Notre Dame. Just a feeling there that the Irish recover. Although they've got some banged-up quarterbacks, and their offensive line is atrocious. Certainly wouldn't be surprised.
Cincinnati, by the way, needs Notre Dame to – sorry to cut you off. I do that often. But Cincinnati needs Notre Dame to win.
Yeah.
To win a lot of games, so that's going to be their most impressive victory.
They do. Another game, Alabama and Texas A&M. Alabama, a big favorite, as they should be. They've won 19 games in a row. It's a 7 o'clock game on CBS. They're an 18-point favorite. Is that too much?
I don't think that's too much because I don't think Texas A&M is very good. They should be better. But obviously, like we said, Arkansas's got a few good big victories, one of those over Texas A&M. They lost to Mississippi State last week. Nobody's been losing to Mike Leach lately, so that's an ugly loss. And I think Alabama, I don't think that's enough points. I almost want to go bet that one.
Yeah, I kind of do as well. Texas A&M can't score, and they gave up 408 yards passing to Will Rogers of Mississippi State last week in that loss. They're just playing bad football, and Bryce Young is really, really good. 17 touchdowns leads the country. He's number one in passing touchdowns. He's probably going to win the Heisman. That's a really good football team. That's a really good quarterback. And if it were 25, I'd probably still take Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We both take Alabama there, right?
Yep.
Let's see. A couple more games. OU versus Texas. Number 6, Oklahoma, -3 versus Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma 5-0, maybe not the most impressive 5-0. Texas 4-1. They've scored a lot of points, but they've also given up quite a few yards. They've got maybe the best player in the country. Who knows? In Bijan Robinson. What do you think?
Yeah, Oklahoma's barely getting by. Of course, we remember the Nebraska game, the West Virginia game, and now Kansas State. So I expect a close game. I would have felt a little bit better if Texas was coming off that 70-35 victory over Texas Tech, but they struggled with TCU a little bit. Just a 5-point win. Nonetheless, I'm bought into Texas. I think Texas is going to get the upset here and finally bring Oklahoma down after all these close games.
That's an 11 o'clock game on ABC. I'm taking Oklahoma. I think it looks better for Nebraska if Oklahoma wins, but I just believe in that defense. And Rattler is as bad as he's played. He's not played that bad. I mean, he was 22 of 25 last week. He's been efficient. He's just not as good as we've seen. And Oklahoma's offensive line has not been as good as we've seen. I think Oklahoma wins this game because I don't think Texas is good as I just don't think they're that good.
You think there'll be a pregame scuffle?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I really like pregame scuffles. Number 4, Penn State at Iowa. Number 3, the final game that we'll pick today. Actually, we've got a couple NFL games. Hold on that thought. 3 o'clock game on Fox. Iowa, 1.5-point favorite. Both teams 5-0. Both teams similar. Really good defense and challenged offensively, Bock.
Yeah, I think Iowa's defense is going to humble Penn State quite a bit, as they have been doing to teams in quarterbacks in specific. So I think it's a rough week for Mr. Clifford there. I could be wrong. Maybe he comes above and gets a win there. But I think Iowa's just too much for Penn State at Kinnick Stadium.
I'm going to take Penn State on this one and the 1.5. You're right on the takeaways. Iowa's defense is just great. 16 takeaways on the year, 12 interceptions. But Penn State does that as well. They have 9 takeaways, and they only allow 11 or 12 points a game. Iowa averages 12. So it's really two teams that play great defense and can't do anything on offense. The difference for me is Sean Clifford, I think, is better than Spencer Petras. That's all I'm taking. I don't think Spencer Petras, although he's played better, I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think either of them are great quarterbacks, but I just think Clifford's a little better and can move a little better.
Yeah, I'm worried with my Iowa pick a little bit about Jahan Dotson. I mean, he's a playmaker there for Penn State. But the Penn State can be one-dimensional. You can shut down the running game, and I expect Iowa to do that.
They're both one-dimensional offensively. Neither one of them run it very well at all.
Iowa's hardly dimensional at all. They're just offensively challenged.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, a couple of NFL games. I thought I'd put your cards on. The 49ers traveled to the Cardinals trying to get to 5-0. That'd be the first time since 1974 that they would be 5-0. It's a 3:25 game on Fox. San Francisco might be without Garoppolo this week, and that means Trey Lance. But you're probably taking your Cards.
Yeah, I do. I will take the Cards here. But nervous, though. I mean, they're the last undefeated team. NFL, anybody can beat anybody on any given weekend. But this one being at home, the Cards, I have a better roster. And like you said, quarterback questions for the Niners.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cards as well. One more, Buffalo at Kansas City. Kansas City, a 2.5-point favorite. Both Kansas City, 2-2. They never lose games. Patrick Mahomes never loses games in September. They've lost 2. And Buffalo's really good. They beat Houston last week 40-0. Their defense is fantastic. Kansas City has the worst defense in football. But what do you think?
Yeah, and well, the Buffalo Bills, they feel like they're one of the best teams, and they probably are. I mean, especially coming off the playoff success of last year, but they're just dominating teams who aren't very good the last 3 weeks. Yeah. I think that's built up their confidence, and I think they might be the best team in the NFL. I'm going with the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. You're going with you threw me a curveball.
I did. Patrick Mahomes is just too much, and
I know.
And the I think there's like this mental block for the Bills about getting over that hump.
That's right. They lost in the playoffs, right, to the Chiefs last year. So I'm going to take the Bill. I'm going to take the Bills on a hunch.
Oh,
I think Josh Allen is really playing well, and that Chiefs defense, I don't trust them. I don't trust that defense right now. Mahomes is great, and he'll score a bunch of points, but they give up on defense 29 points a game. They're just lousy on defense.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're not good. Let's go to break. Evan Bland doesn't want to hear about the Chiefs. He's a Broncos guy.
That's right.
And they've only lost one game this year. Wasn't on board totally. He didn't believe it because they'd beaten the Jags, the Jets, and the Giants. We'll see if he's starting to get on board after a loss. We'll do that. Evan Bland, we'll talk about Michigan football, obviously, with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Areas of patchy fog again this morning, then warming to 84 by later this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a light southeast wind at 10. We'll see partly cloudy skies again tonight with the low dropping down to 62. Despite an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, it will be hot as we'll top out near 89. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or Comfort Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Eggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflink.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
The worst of times can bring out the best in each of us. Doctors, nurses, and frontline workers have labored selflessly to keep us safe during the health crisis of our lifetime. How do we thank these heroes? It's simple. Get your COVID vaccine so we can end this pandemic. Variants are on the rise, and we don't want to put these heroes through another health crisis. They have given their all. Now it's up to you. Please do your part. For you, for them, for us.
This message sponsored by the Helmsley Charitable Trust, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dreaming of the perfect kitchen? More room for entertaining? Today, the Johnsons got both and saved by consolidating their debt. With a home equity line of credit, you can borrow money as you need it, have flexible payment options, and pay interest on only the money you're using. If you have equity in your home, the possibilities are endless with a home equity line of credit. What will you decide to do? Get started by visiting LibertyFirstCU.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends October 13th. See club for details.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Tom and Bock, final half hour of the show. The pregame, in about 15 minutes or so, we'll bring in the guys.
That's right, we're pregaming.
Talk a little football with them as well. But right now, let's bring in Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Hi, Evan. How are you?
Hey, gents. How's it going today? I'm doing well.
Good. What kind of recruiting? We haven't talked a ton about recruiting. What kind of a recruiting weekend is this going to be for Nebraska?
Well, no official visitors for the 2022 class, obviously, this weekend. It's another big crowd, though. I mean, you're talking, I think last week they ended up having 45 or 50 guys, and the number should be roughly the same this weekend. Reese Mooney would probably be one of your more notable visitors, the 2023 quarterback who Nebraska's been on for quite a while. I guess he got hurt earlier this season, so he'll be on crutches this weekend, but still out and about and probably on the sidelines moving forward. And then, I think there's been a lot of maybe repeat guests this weekend too. You think about guys like Malachi Coleman from Lincoln East, who was here. He got an offer last weekend and was here. He'll be back. A number of other guys just regionally who will be around too. So, it's an interesting sort of vibe, because what most fans tend to gravitate to is those official visitors, the all expense paid trip for guys that can contribute to this next most immediate class. Well, with all the roster crunch created by the pandemic, Nebraska is going to have a small class. They're only going to have a handful of commits here the rest of the way, most likely, especially from high schoolers. They'll probably be active in the transfer portal later on. So it's a different dynamic, I suppose, but it's one that if you can, put on a good show and show that the program is going somewhere like they did last weekend, it's the sort of thing that you probably won't see a lot of immediate benefit from, but it's that kind of thing that can stick in prospects' minds that might pay off here months down the road.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's a small class. I think they're only going to offer maybe 13 scholarships this year, and Nebraska's relatively young, not a lot of guys moving on. You think that's a good thing or a bad thing right now as far as recruiting is concerned for Nebraska, that they're only going to give out 13 scholarships?
It just kind of remains to be seen. Like, you don't want to give out scholarships for the sake of doing it and just getting bodies in here if you don't feel like you have the guys. It's a really interesting challenge for coaches this year, because the first thing is going to be, okay, who among your junior eligible players is going to come back? Guys who, in a typical situation without the extra COVID year, who would be gone after this year? That would be guys like Adrian Martinez, Austin Allen, Damian Daniels. You can kind of go down the line with guys who are going to have that opportunity to come back for, a fifth or a sixth year. Or they might say, hey, I've done what I can at Nebraska. I'm going to go to the NFL, or I'm going to move on with life. And so those are decisions that typically don't get made until after the season, when you have, all the information in front of you to make a choice. And then on top of that, Nebraska's been more active in the transfer portal. It will continue to be active in the transfer portal, especially when you consider the success that it's had in bringing in some impact talent in the last few cycles. Darian Daniels, Trey Neal, Samori Toure, or some Chris Kolarvik. I mean, they have a lot of examples of guys that they brought in there. And so those are sort of the moving pieces you have on the front end of that. And so it seems like it's a good move by the staff to say, okay, let's limit the guys that we take as commits now. Maybe you continue a dialogue. But I think in this area of the transfer portal, there's no need to overextend yourself now and just say, hey, if we end up getting to the point where more players leave, more junior eligible guys leave than we thought, then you can dip your toe again in that transfer portal and feel pretty good that you're going to find guys who can contribute.
Just brushing up on some of the wording here in recruiting, is an official visit, is that only for seniors? And then the other question I have, as far as that, seniors in high school, and then the other question I have is can you take an official visit as a transfer portal guy?
Well, the first part, yes, you have to be a senior to have that official visit, or it has to take place. I think the rule a year ago made it so you could start getting those officials in like late in the spring. So Nebraska could, in theory, have guys who are still juniors in high school as official visitors for like the spring game. So maybe like the last part of your junior year. I don't believe you get official visits as a transfer portal guy. I'm not 100% on that, but I don't think you do. And so that's the other interesting part, is how we, as media or as fans, consume recruiting coverage, because there is this shift that's underway that I think is going to continue, where if you're a high school kid and you're getting offers, it's in your interest to put those offers out on social media, to announce that, to do the interviews about what you thought about this visit or that school. It's a much different dynamic if you are a transfer, because you have been at a certain school, you're going somewhere else. There's sort of a stigma that can be attached to that. Well, like, why are you deciding to move on? What didn't work there? Are you high maintenance? Are there character issues? Like, and those might be unfair questions, but those all sort of come along with it. And so those sort of recruiting processes go on much more behind the scenes, because the prospects in question aren't really interested in putting it out there. So, it's just kind of interesting, because on the surface, Nebraska hasn't had a ton of action with regards to this class lately. But I think once we get to the end of the season, some of that other stuff's going to start bubbling up, where maybe some other transfers that Nebraska's had their eye on will get in here and possibly commit later on.
Name, image, and likeness, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, I guess, hasn't necessarily worked out like I thought it would. And that doesn't mean it's bad. But like I think about Adrian Martinez, maybe he does want to stay another year. And part of it might mean that he can make a little money doing that. Or Lexi Sun or Lauren Stivrins. I thought that Nebraska would benefit, and maybe they still will, with seniors out of high school. But right now it looks like they could benefit from guys who are a little bit more mature, trying to make mature adult decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, you kind of look around just from the football team, you look at the guys who have known NIL deals, it tends to be the older guys. I mean, Jojo Doma and Adrian Martinez are veteran guys with podcasts, and what Cam Jurgens is doing with his beef jerky. I mean, I think he's in his, fourth year in the program too. And so generally speaking, yeah, you kind of have that, you need that maturity to be able to handle it, and so on and so forth. It's such a new thing still, right? I mean, it only went into effect July 1st. It's a few months in. I think we'll get a better feel for it once this football season ends. At least it's how it pertains to football players in college, because their season will be over. They'll have a little bit more time to investigate and kind of look through those deals. I go back to something that Mo Berry told me a few months ago, the former Nebraska linebacker and captain, who said, like, when he was a freshman and sophomore in college, he was not in a position, or he was not prepared to make those kind of decisions. He would not have been prepared to handle that sort of income or the other things that come with that. And he said, really, it was only until maybe he was a senior and even after his time at Nebraska that he felt like he was prepared to handle that, in addition to all the football duties and all the academic classwork and things like that. So I think it's probably a good thing that this NIL era has sort of eased in, because again, people are figuring out what's permissible, what they can handle, what are the options out there. And I think there's still a lot to be kind of parsed through and figured out, even, by next summer, next fall. I think things are going to change a lot from where they are even right now.
And transitioning to this Michigan game, how concerned are you about, what we would say the little things, maybe not necessarily the rushing and pass defense and all that stuff, but as far as, is Michigan's pretty good as far as returning punt returns? I mean, they don't do turnovers. They don't have turnovers. They don't have penalties too much. Nebraska played one clean game against Northwestern, but it could be easy to see that stuff popping up and costing Nebraska again.
Yeah, very well could. If Nebraska loses the game, it does seem likely that it'll be the same old stuff that has plagued it over time. It's just hard to say after one game that Nebraska has shed its, tendency to commit penalties, or that it's shed its tendency to commit, crippling turnovers at the wrong time, or whatever it might be. I think if you're going with Michigan this weekend, your strongest point in that debate would be the special teams disparity. I mean, it's huge. Michigan probably has, by a lot of measurements, the best special teams in the country. Nebraska's on the other end of that spectrum. So, and it's in everything. It's in kicking, it's in punting, it's in the return game. If you're Nebraska, one, you have to just hope you're avoiding those catastrophic mistakes to begin with, and just sort of be boring like you were last week against Northwestern. Like that's probably the ceiling for Nebraska in that regard this weekend. But I think the other part of that is it really puts the onus on your offense in particular to finish those drives. I mean, you're in a lot better situation if you're kicking extra points, as opposed to tangling with Michigan, punting the football, tangling with them with a field goal attempt from farther out. There's just so many other things that could potentially go wrong and swing things in Michigan's favor from that perspective. So, it's going to be about the offense, I think, finishing things. And then again, if the defense can just sort of have a weekend where the fair catches are made, where the punts go where they're supposed to, that's probably the optimistic end of what you can look for if you're Nebraska.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald is our guest. Is this a bigger game for Jim Harbaugh or for Scott Frost?
Well, I think Nebraska has more to gain from this game. Like if you're Michigan and you beat Nebraska, it's still about Michigan State. It's still about Ohio State. And so that conversation continues. So Nebraska absolutely has more to gain here. A win over Michigan would objectively clearly be the best that Nebraska's had under Scott Frost in 3.5 years. Like I think I've mentioned to you guys before, they haven't yet beaten an opponent that's finished more than a game over 500 on its season. And they haven't beaten a top 25 team in that time either. And I think there's something also to be said about doing it at home, under the lights, on national TV, with those recruits in the house that we're talking about for the future. It's a perfect opportunity to show that some of that progress is there. And sometimes it's difficult to discern or to I guess view progress when the win-loss record isn't what you want it to be. But I do think that if you follow the team closer and you see how they've been competitive at Oklahoma, at Michigan State, the way they put everything together against Northwestern, it does feel like that momentum is there. And this is that opportunity this weekend for Nebraska in particular to validate that what we've seen in the past can translate into something more tangible on a big stage.
Evan, I remember Tom Osborne saying one time that it's not a big game until you lose it. And maybe it isn't a big game for Jim Harbaugh, but if he loses this, I mean, there's a big storm.
Yeah, I mean, again, like Michigan's tough because their schedule, it's like the perception of what they've done changes, right? Like that Washington win in the moment felt bigger than I think it does now. Beating Wisconsin in name is bigger than I think it is when you look at the state of the Badgers. And like, again, if you lose to Nebraska and you're Michigan, but you still bounce back and upend Michigan State, or you beat Ohio State, all's kind of forgiven, right? Like that's the thing that people are going to remember. And I think there's an understanding on their side too, that Nebraska is a step up from what they've seen so far, both defensively and with what Adrian Martinez can do. So yeah, I mean, obviously every game is big for Michigan. The fan base is not going to be happy if they drop it, but I don't think it's a situation where it would be shocking to lose that game. I mean, Nebraska is a classic brand that's on the rise too. So yeah, certainly people wouldn't enjoy it, but I don't think it would change the conversation about Jim Harbaugh and his job status.
If we're going to put you on the spot here, who's the all-time better program, and who would have won that game in 1997?
Well, Scott Frost didn't want to go there.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think Nebraska probably would have won that game. It's a shame, isn't it? Because BCS came along a handful of years later, and we could have just had that thing figured out on the field. And I don't know, like, it's an interesting debate in college football because there is an argument to be made that that's part of its charm, which was, trying to figure out who was better, even when you didn't get to play each other. I personally obviously wish that they could have settled it on the field like every other sport finds a way to do. But it is kind of fun. Like all those old debates crop up this week. Like I said, Scott Frost didn't want to dive into it, but I think it's pretty clear where he would stand on that particular debate as well.
Well, they got the stupid woodshop trophy, and we got the good trophy. That's
right.
But that Tennessee team was better than Ryan Leaf's Washington State team. I mean, I don't think there's a doubt about that. But you can debate it. That's why they're debates. That's why it's fun to do it. It's sports. Good stuff, Evan. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Yeah, we got the better trophy. That's all that really matters. I mean, there's no doubt we would have beaten them, right?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have had a chance.
That was 42-17 over Peyton Manning, Tennessee. Tennessee would have beaten them bad, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. In fact, you played Tennessee 10 times. Nebraska played. Tom Oliver said we played really well that night, as good as that team was.
Yeah.
I think if you played 10 times, Tennessee probably wins at least a couple. Because they were really good.
Yeah,
Nebraska
Jamal Lewis and Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Nebraska was just rolling that night. They were really, really good. Let's go to break and finish out. No leftovers. It's the pregame.
Yeah.
Let's have the guys on.
Pregame for the happy hour.
Yep. Rico and Nick will be on next.
Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com. Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or Comfort Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Businesses from all over the capital city are excited to welcome you to the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Wednesday, October 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely enjoy one of the region's largest business trade shows as you network, find out about Lincoln businesses, and enjoy the many interactive booths. The expo has something for everyone, including the popular Lincoln Craft Beer Tour and a free Lincoln t-shirt. Best of all, it's free to attend. The Lincoln Expo, showcasing and celebrating local business.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Dominic Raiola joins us. So what was your impressions, Teddy Prohaska in particular, Dominic?
I hate putting projections on people because, you don't want to do that. But this guy's a 10 to 15 year NFL player now. Like, they don't make him like this guy. This guy, I watch, they don't make people that look like this guy and not play in the NFL. Like,
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Venue at Home is your answer for locally made, freshly prepared meals delivered to your door every week. Our meals come ready to heat and eat. With sizes for 2 people or 4, Venue at Home is perfect for busy people who want a quick, easy, and delicious meal option to share with your roommates or feed the whole family. Add on from our wide selection of appetizers, sides, desserts, alcohol, and more. Receive a discount on your meals by subscribing to get Venue at Home delivered every week. Visit venueathome.net to order today. That's venueathome.net.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
For today's Husker Radio Report, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. Anytime you win, it obviously feels a lot better to get ready for another game. And head coach Scott Frost said this week has been a really good preparation as his team gets ready for the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday.
Been another good week. The guys know how to prepare now. There's not a lot of difference one week to the next. They're doing what they need to do to get ready for a game.
As Frost looks at this game on Saturday, he said both teams' game plan is pretty simple.
We need to do everything well. I think the run game is probably the key to this game. They want to run it. We want to run it. They want to stop it. We want to stop it. The team that gets behind has to throw, probably isn't in a good spot. So we got to do everything we can up front on offense and defense.
Kickoff for Saturday's game with the Wolverines is set for 6:30. It's on ABC. It's the first time the Huskers have been on ABC since the Ohio State game in 2019. The Wolverines currently sit as a 3.5-point favorite. Reporting with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Areas of patchy fog again this morning, then warming to 84 by later this afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a light southeast wind at 10. We'll see partly cloudy skies again tonight with the low dropping down to 62. Despite an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, it will be hot as we'll top out near 89. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
As DP said, we start with Tom, we end with Tom. That's the way you do it. It is Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bockhoven. And the pregame begins now.
We need to get music.
No, I actually like this.
You like this?
I think we should this should be your Friday. I'm gonna make sure I put it in there. This is your Friday last intro.
Well, then pot it up for crying out loud,
Yeah,
Bock.
let's
What are
get
you
some of
doing?
this.
What are you, pot it,
You know why? Because Nebraska won't back down.
We still got
Not from
20
nobody.
seconds left of this song.
I
What
miss
they're gonna
Tom
do
every single day. Tom Petty.
is they're
is
going to
my-
welcome Michigan into Memorial Stadium.
Right.
And they're going to say, hey, Michigan, guess what? We're not scared of no Wolverines. Get out of here.
This is awesome,
Are you-
Rico.
Are you giving a pregame speech at this
I am.
very moment?
I am.
That feels like.
Gosh, that was awesome.
We'll
You're
give our picks here. We didn't do it on picks of density because I would like to hold it off till the end of the show, and you guys, I'm sure, will hold it off to the end of your show.
So we're going to
Your
start
picks.
right off with
So you're just gonna,
Yeah,
we're gonna blow the
just
whole
right
thing
away. All right.
open.
All right, here we go.
Major League Baseball, White Sox lead the Astros 1-0 in the bottom of the second. You have the Braves and Brewers later on today at about 3:30. The Red Sox game 2 with the Rays is at 6:02 tonight. Dodgers and Giants play game 1 tonight as well. Randy Arozarena broke your heart.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
But
But it
it's home.
sucked.
Oh, it's all right.
How's the offseason, Rico?
But it sucked, huh?
No, it's all right.
That was terrible.
Five games.
I bet Nelson Cruz hitting the
Yeah.
catwalk felt real good.
Yeah.
Nick and I had our off season starting in April. It started basically. in
No,
April.
not necessarily. It started at the trade deadline. It
was-
started at the trade deadline.
There was a mathematical way you guys could have gotten into the playoffs a little later into the season.
It could have happened.
Very unlikely, but
It could
math and numbers and
I don't-
addition,
I was
subtraction.
told there would be no math. Let me ask you guys. There's a long distance runner. Her name's Charlene Flanagan. She's attempting to run 6 marathons in 42 days. And she's going to do one, I believe, tomorrow. She's going to do one Sunday and then on Monday as well. One in Chicago, and then one on. Could you even run a marathon?
How long is the marathon?
It's 26 miles.
Gee,
26. She's running how many?
She's running 6 in 42 days.
6 and 4, and
But
she has 2 in
back-to-back days.
2
And
and 2 in 3 days.
back-to-back days.
Not back to back. You said. Oh yeah, you said
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah,
and Monday.
Sunday and Monday.
52
Oh.
miles in 2 days.
How
And
old is she?
She's in her 40s. And she also says she has to run all of them under 3 hours.
Oh come on! Don't set a time limit.
That Monday one's going to be.
That would
Yeah.
be crazy. That'd be
Goodness
crazy.
gracious,
I-
girl.
How do you even prepare for that?
I
Run.
think I could do a half marathon.
that.
You're a runner. I was asking.
No,
Not a
no,
long
no, no, no,
distance
no, no,
runner.
no, no, no.
Never a distance
I was
guy.
when people say I was a runner, and I was not a runner. I was a sprinter. I was
yeah.
a sprinter and a hurdler and a jumper. I was not a runner.
That's right. You tried jogging for a while. You couldn't even do that.
Yeah, I don't like jogging. Jogging is bad. We warm up. To
Boring.
warm up, we have to do 1 or 2 laps. I don't remember exactly, but we have to do either 400 or 800 meters.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. Hated it. The warm up was the worst.
Well, I mean, when I was in 8th grade and I wanted to do shot put because I was a baseball player, so I was like, oh, I'll go to track practice,
Seems like
whatever.
Terrible correlation.
And
there.
well, I thought the 8th grade me, I thought
No,
something
that makes
similar.
sense.
And so I didn't realize that part of the warm up though at track practice was still to run a mile.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So
how y'all warmed up.
I
No.
left.
It's a unity
I left.
You quit the team quick.
I left after the one practice. I just like, I'm not doing this.
In high school, we would always do towards the beginning of the season, time trials and
Yeah.
everything. And our coach was like, all right, we're gonna have 800-meter time trials.
Uh-huh.
So everybody that runs 800 meters and up has to run the time trial, the 800 meters. And then my junior year, she was like, all right, anybody who runs 400 meters, get over here. And I ran the 300-meter hurdles, and I was laughing at the 400-meter runners. I was like, hi, losers. And then she goes, Alvarez, I don't know what you're laughing at. You got to come over here, too. And I was
Oh,
like,
no.
nah, coach, I don't do that.
I was a sprinter in swimming in high school as well, and they made me do in a state meet the 500, which is 20 lengths of the pool.
Mm.
I nearly drowned. I'm a 50 free or 100 free fast swimmer, decently fast swimmer. There were guys on the blocks waiting for me to get out of the pool, like 5 minutes. I mean, like for 5 minutes, they were like about to go in and fish me out.
Tom, did you ever shave your head for swimming?
No, but a lot of guys did shave all the hair on their body.
I swam in middle school 1 year. I swam 8th grade year.
Yeah.
Because my 8th grade year, I said I was going to do all the sports.
Were you good?
You're
terrible.
I made the city finals for the backstroke.
Hey, that's
there you
pretty
go.
good.
Hey, that's not bad.
But yeah,
That's not
nothing
bad at
else
all.
really.
All right, we've got about a minute. Give me your rundown really quick and your score, Bock.
Well, I think it's going to be a close game for most of the game, but Nebraska pulls away late. I think the defense is going to hold Michigan's rushing attack to a degree. Maybe a few mistakes that helps keeps Michigan in the game as that ugly part of Nebraska comes back. But I like Nebraska 24-13.
Wow.
Wow. I will take that. I'm just deciding right now. I think Nebraska ran for 427 last week. That means they can do 200 against Michigan.
Okay.
200 on the ground, 200 in the air, a balanced attack, and they win 27-24. 27-24.
Good deal.
I do think it's going down to the
Okay,
wire.
guys.
Love to see it. We have to back this up now.
Oh, don't
Rico.
worry. People are gonna love.
We're gonna have some fun.
No. People are gonna love mine.
You can't hold me to it if I'm wrong on Monday. The happy hour is next. Thanks, guys. See you in like a minute.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Sauter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln